Hello and welcome to Dash 28 Live. I am your host, Mike Atkins, and today we are bringing you a quarterfinal match from the Quintessentially Quayle Cup. The group rounds are over, half of the players have been eliminated, and from here on out, it's elimination rounds. So we are bringing you today Sergey Kovrov versus Joey Greek. Hey guys.
Hola.
Welcome. Great to see you. And helping me cover the match, we've got the eponymous John Quayle himself. And Nathan Clevenger, thanks for being here, guys. Good to see you. Now, for this round, you allowed the players to switch armies and make completely different lists if they wanted to. So although these are folks that made it through 3 group round matches, they might not be playing the same armies that they were playing before. They dropped off. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. So without further ado, let me pop open your lists, and we can talk about what you guys have brought here.
It's probably worth mentioning that Joey actually went for a completely different list.
Whole new army, whole new play style.
So these are Joey's Ratkin. Joey, could you walk us through your list, please?
Yep. So we're starting out with 2 hordes of shock troops. Both have plate pots, so they can pop and snare for 1 turn, and stealthy, although that shouldn't be relevant this game. We followed up with 2 hordes of nightmares, the new and improved ones that now have vicious on their shots. One has elite and the other has strider. We have 1 regiment of tunnel runners with sharpness. Broodmother that is packing Drain Life 5 and Scorched Earth 2, as well as the Conjurer's Staff to hopefully make Scorched Earth happen. The War Chief, just a plain old War Chief with the new aura that gives vicious to those shock troops. A Brute Enforcer with the Blade of Slashing, Tangle, Mother Kryza, and finally the Formation, Smoke, Mirrors, and Death. So 2 Shredders that got a buff of 1 attack, and a Spewer that gets a whole bunch of rules. Iron Resolve for tech, which is going to be Kryza, the Nightmares, and a few other things. Inspiring and steady aim on its shots.
Wow, okay. Interesting. That's going to be only 13 drops, though, but 21 unit strength.
Yep.
All right, interesting. Okay, cool, thank you. Now let's pop over and take a look at Sergey's Forces of Nature. Sergey, could you walk us through your list, please?
Yes, of course. This time I took a Night Horde for their nice unit strengths. I took also 2 hordes of Forest Shamblers, 2 Pegasus for some chaff and divert, 2 Druids with Conjurer Staff and a new Amulet of the Fireheart. Both Druids have Pain Chant and Surge additional spells. Of course, my loving daddy, Wildfather. Also, I took Unicorn with 2 spells, Lightning Bolt 5 and new Tome of Darkness with Surge 5. I took Kapoka. And of course, I would like to test a new formation of air elementals. It consists of big great air elemental with additional crushing strength 1 and brutal aura, and of course regeneration 5+. And also it has 2 hordes of air elementals, so why not?
All right, great. And that also comes in at 13 drops and 21 units. Right? Very interesting. Very cool. All right. Okay, thanks for walking us through that. Now let's check out your UB realm. We are playing Control this week, I think, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. And looks like Joey's across the top and Sergey's across the bottom. So Joey, could you walk us through your deployment starting over on the left, please?
Yep. In our armored cars, we have tunnel runners with sharpness, all on their lonesome. We got 2 Shredders behind the lake. They have ignore cover, so they can ignore everything intervening. So they can just shoot over the Nightmares freely. The Strider Nightmares on the left by the wall. The 2 Hordes of Shock Troops are pretty obvious. We've got Tangle behind them. Then Mother Kryza is the middle guy. The War Chief with the Vicious Aura between the Shock Troops. The regular Broodmother with Scorched Earth is going to be there. The Brute Enforcer's just chilling over there on the right by the rocks. The Nightmares with Elite are next to him, and our Super Spewer is next to that.
All right, cool. And then Sergey, if you could walk us through your deployment,
Okay.
starting over here.
So, for Shamblers, then Daddy, then 5 units in the terrain, Kapoka, Unicorn, Great Elemental, and Boss Pegasus, respectively. Then there are 3 units behind of them. That's Druid, Air Elemental, and Night Horde. There are also another Druid behind Hill, another Air Elemental Horde behind Hill, and Forest Chamblers. And of course, I have Scout moves, so I will use it, of course.
Yep, awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys, for walking us through your deployment. Good luck to both of you. We're going to let you get
Thank
started
you.
on your game now with your scout moves, and we'll see you guys back here after your first and third turns to check out how the game is going. Good luck.
All
Okay.
right.
Cheers, guys. Right.
Go ahead and kick him. There we go. All right.
Interesting. Are we going to do the steeple hands already? Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we're playing control and forces of nature. Generally, with this many small flying units, is going to like control if he can keep them alive to the end of the game because he can grab whatever open corner he wants. But I feel like with all Joey's going to come across the table at him with, he's going to need those pieces for charge blocking.
he is. I mean, it's probably worth pointing out. This is. I mean, Joey was playing Night Stalkers in the last round, and I don't know how much experience he's got using this type of Ratkin list. Although I think you were saying, Nathan, that he played in tournaments as well using these kind of lists. Was it you said it, or was it Mike? I can't remember.
He's played Ratkin a few times, although he's been Night Stalkers for a long time though. So
Yeah, he brought like a Ratkin list to test up to a club gaming night a couple of weeks ago in my area because he only lives like an hour down the road from me. And that is the first time I remember ever seeing him play Ratkin. So we will see. Here's Sergey taking his scout moves, as expected.
Yeah,
with both these lists, I'm really impressed at how much they're able to squeeze into these. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to the end, and I'm like, how was that only 13
minutes?
minutes?
They've been able to pile in.
Only 13 minutes.
Yeah. They are both using some really excellent formations. The Force Nature formation and the Ratkin formation are probably 2 of the better ones that came out in this Clash of Kings. Giving regeneration to the air elementals and the greater elemental is a huge buff, even if you don't try to keep the greater elemental close to them for the brutal aura. And then Ratkin they stack special rule on special rule on special rule, right? When they first started out, it was just, oh, hey, here's all this stuff that gets rallying from each other. And as the game has evolved, they've added so many different auras, and Joey's taking a lot of advantage of it. So, the tech aura that he's getting out of the formation is superb for his list. I really like the Nightmares, kind of a Ratkin take on Ogre Boomers. And, just buffing them up even more is as long as he can keep them within range of that is really could really pay benefits.
Yeah, that and the Tangle as well. So combining the because they're boomers on heat, aren't they? Because essentially They do everything that boomers do. Got the high defense, plus the vicious on top as well. Boomers on heat.
I think the boomers have Pierce 1 though, natively, right? And I think that's the only thing that the Nightmares miss out on. But they're trading that for better defense, which is certainly worth it. So
and there's a fair amount of shooting. There's a fair amount of shooting with the Death Engine Spewer, Mother Chrysler, obviously, and the Shredders. Although it's interesting where he's placed the Shredders. Or there's an interesting already. Because he's who's he looking to target with those guys with the Nightmares in front? He's probably trying to get over and hit the Pegasus, aren't they? The Pegasi.
Yeah, if he can tag those Pegasi pretty early and some real damage on them, that's really going to hurt late game.
There you go.
You know, I know Sergey has a fair bit of fuel in there.
All right, so Joey has won the roll-off and has elected to go first, which I think is probably the right call, because you don't want to give Scouting Forces of Nature basically 2 turns to go before you get to do anything.
Yeah, I kind of like a comment first up. And just obviously the tournament so far, we've gone through the group stages, and there's been some really tight games all the way through it. And even right at the end, there was quite a few close games leading to some people qualifying. They weren't expecting to qualify, I think. But giving everybody the opportunity to change their lists led to the majority of people actually switching what they were using for something completely different, which was nice. But then you've got people like Sergey who've kept with what they've done and just tweaked slightly, which I think is both are valid. So it's going to be interesting clash between an experience with a certain list and just seeing how Joey actually makes the most of the tools. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? A lot of we've got this new rules change. There's so many tools available. You're not sure exactly which ones are going to work well and how to make the most of them.
Yeah, I'm eager to see how Joey's Scorched Earth plays this game. I mean, good targets for it, especially considering each hit, he's stripping away the Forces of Nature Pathfinder, which they basically get everywhere, right? So, and hindering those, that could really make those greater or those air elemental hordes not as effective as Sergey is wanting. I really think Scorched Earth is going to be a big game changer for a lot of different armies. Those armies that you walk up against and they only have 1 or 2 real fast hammers. Scorched Earth goes a long way at kind of toning those down and making them a manageable threat in turns 2 and 3. So I'm really excited to see if he's able to put that to good use. Although one of the challenges Joey has with his list is all of his unit, so many things. He's kind of got almost too many choices at times, I think, right, with his brood mothers and stuff like that, and that. All right, there's 3 different things I want to do. Which one's best right now? So, and I think that can be a trap for players. As a building list with all the new spells that are available is tooling up their spellcasters too much. Sergey did a good job with his druids and stuff, keeping them cheap. Just the basic Surge and Bane Chant and a magic item to help with both of those. So, it's really easy. Some of the times I've been building lists, playing around, and it's like, oh, hey, I now have a horror that's worth 220 points now on my Night Stalker list. That's not going to work, Right. So it's
right.
60 base point unit, yes. 200 points may be a little bit too far to go with a horror, but it is tempting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I think it's likely that we will see some folks doing what you're talking about. Like, we got a lot of new toys, and I think everyone will be eager to play with them. And I think there will be that urge on a lot of people's parts to kind of overbuild some of their units or over kit out some of their units, rather than focusing on just 1 or 2 additions to their existing play style. So I think experimentation is great, but like if it costs you 60 points in spells that you never cast over the course of the game because they end up being too situational, then it's kind of wasted points.
So what do you think Joe's going to come in with as a game plan? What do you think is because last time we had him on the stream with the Night Stalkers, he really knew what he was going to do to win. So what do you think he's going to be thinking about his route to victory? Not all at once.
He's going to outgrind Sergey better, I think. Right, Joey's just got enough ranged shooting here, right, between the nightmares that have to get a little bit closer. They have to be within 12 inches, but also the shredders and the other options in there with the Tangle, Mother Cries, stuff like that. That he's going to be able to sit back and not necessarily chew on the air elementals, because while they're only defense 4. They do have regen on them from the formation, but if he can chew on the 4 Shamblers and then chew on the mobile scoring unit strength and the Pegasuses and the unit stuff like that, he can really hinder Sergey's opportunities to score quads or sextants, whatever they call them in this, later in the game, right? And Joey's list, even without the surge, he's got a pretty quick list, right? Most of the Racken stuff is pretty fast, especially the tunnel runners. I kind of maybe would have liked to see Joey move the tunnel runners up a little bit further and press on those 4 Shamblers over there. He could have moved the techs up a little bit further as well and had them kind of pressure that area and pressure that side, because if the tunnel runners can break through against those 4 Shamblers, they can be a real threat to the big unit strength block of the Naiad and Snares down there at the bottom of the table. So I think he's got some good opportunities here, though, if his UB dice can score some hits for him at least, right? So
just seen with the Shredders have missed all their shots. You'd have hoped for at least 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 8 shots on 5s, right?
It is. Yeah, you say Joey's list is quick, and I was looking at it, when John asked us, I was like, okay, everything's speed 6 except the tunnel runners. They're speed 8. So I'm like, they're faster than normal infantry, but that's it. His whole list is either speed 5 or 6, and then 1 speed 8 unit. Whereas on Sergey's side, he's got a lot of stuff that flies. He's got stuff that's scouted up. So Joey can't plan an alpha strike strategy here. He's got to kind of hammer and anvil, and he's got to put pressure on with his shooting, like Nate was saying, I think. And Rats, he just got to get in position to win, because we're playing control. He's just got to spread out and hunker down and roll better than that.
Yeah, Jesus. He spent an entire turn of shooting, and he's caused 4 points of damage.
And that's it. Yeah. If he can get rid of some of these high utility, high maneuverability, high speed flying units of Sergey's, it's going to make it a lot easier for him to hold scoring table sections at the end of the game.
All his 1s and 2s have come out this turn already, right? I mean, look at that nerve roll on the Pegasus. That is just. There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I think you're right. I think he has just got to hold fire. I mean, I understand what you're saying with the tunnel runners, and I think it's a split decision whether you commit them early or you're just holding them there as a threat. If he was holding them there as a threat, I might have turned them a little bit more just so that they're covering the what's it called? The nightmares. He's going straight for it with the Wilt Father. You think he can take the shock troops on, doesn't he? Yeah. I don't know if that's
Joey did not pop his plague, but
he can do that next
turn.
I
think next turn is a great. Yeah. Especially he's got. I mean, they're rally 2'd up there as well, right? Because the works. Yep.
Hey, Joey.
What's up?
Hey, Joey. So we were just watching your chalk and awe first round shooting.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It's turn 1. He put everything in a forest. There's not much I can do about it.
You could roll better dice, mate. That's what you could do.
I could. I get 1 hit out of 8 dice needing 6s, but we'll take 0, I guess.
I mean, as soon as you come off stream, you should be, I don't know, sacrificing some dice or something, or threaten them by putting them in the microwave. I think that's the only way you can get it back from there. Right?
Well, it's turn one.
It's turn
like
one.
if we're hopeful, I kill a
Have to put
Pegasus.
UV
but
dice in the microwave.
yeah. If UB gives me bad dice turns 1 through 4, it means I'm going to roll nothing but 6s for the last 2 turns. So
There you go.
it'll even out.
You probably want to switch your clock because I think it's still running on yours.
Oh, yep, good call.
So what is the plan then, buddy? We've had a discussion about what we think your plan's going to be, but we could be completely wrong.
Well, the current plan is to see if he wants to really be aggressive and give me units for free. It's control, so normally how I play control is I aim for 4 of the squares. I'll give him 2, and I'll take 4 of my own. Really, I want him to take the left 2. The tunnel runners are kind of just there to delay for as long as they can. I don't expect them to beat Wiltfather. If he just diverts the Forest Shamblers, maybe I can beat that, but they're really just there to kind of, if I get lucky and can take advantage of the left side, I will. The right side is the 2 I really want to have. And then just hold the middle. I have better unit strength units, so if I can pick off some of these 1 unit strength guys and just crowd out his middle.
As Rat can do. Okay, so you're looking basically to just delay with the tunnel runners as long as possible and try to take the rest of the board.
Yep. If they keep the Forest Shamblers kind of stuck in place, then that's a net win for me. When they dive in, eventually they will. Maybe I'll have Inspiring over there or Rally. Currently, they're the most unsupported unit I've ever played. So, thankfully, all his flying is on the other side of the table.
Yep. And you definitely got more shooting on the table, more offensive shooting on the table than he does in long range shooting. What are your primary shooting targets going to be? Because it seems like you're basically planning to like slowly move forward, occupy space, and shoot some stuff.
The Pegasi are the target number 1 until the air elementals become available. He's blocking line of sight to the air elementals in the middle. Otherwise, I would have just probably shot them. The other target's going to be the Forest Shamblers on the right because they're completely unsupported. He can move the Druid over there to help, but I should have enough firepower there to win that. The Spewer is currently dash 18 because it's got 2 sources of rally. The Nightmares are 15, 17 with the one-off Enforcer. And most of his surge is located on the left, so the air elementals on the right are going to need to go central if he wants to play a surge game with them.
Yep. Okay, great. Any other questions for Joey?
I was just going to ask, what experience have you got with these Ratkin then? We've kind of guesstimated that it's not much.
No, I've had a Ratkin army. I bought a lot when 3rd edition came out. I've played proxy games with it, and I've painted like 60 Plague Monks and then got really tired of painting Plague Monks. So it's just been sitting in this unpainted mess. I'm planning on switching to Ratkin Slaves as my main army, but since we're in elimination rounds, I wasn't very uncomfortable playing Slaves at this point.
Hey, buddy, you got to go balls deep, man. All right, you know,
Right.
you're going to commit. Yeah, balls deep. All right, that's all I had to ask. We don't want to give too much away.
All right, great. All right, good luck. We'll see you back after turn 3.
All right, see you guys.
See you in a bit.
So Sergey's like tried a couple of first turn charges on for size and decided he didn't like either of them. It seems like he thought about throwing the Wiltfather straight into that central shock troop horde, and now he's thinking about just blocking them with a Pegasus.
Well, Sergey should have the most.
I don't like either of those choices, though.
Yeah, me neither.
He should have the most experience with his list. And when you look at his list and what he's facing, I think he has to get in there early as he possibly can. Right, I see what he's trying to achieve. Okay.
Yeah. Right, so that would be him positioning the Unicorn so that the Wiltfather can charge the shock troop horde without being visible or chargeable by any of the other stuff on the right, basically, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure why he would get that anyway. So he can't be seen by the shock troop horde. So I'm not sure why he'd want to do that. I think he's trying to look to block up as much as he possibly can. But he wants to avoid putting the Wiltfather in a position where a charge would put the shock troops in the flank, because that would be disaster. That would just end up with, 50 odd attacks.
His issue may be less the second shock troop horde and Mother Kryza then. Mother Kryza is in a really good position to pick up a flank on that. So, because if I'm looking at it correctly, she can just slip past. I think is she nimble? I don't remember if she's nimble or not. She's nimble. So she's got enough room so she can squeeze.
Yep, she can fit.
So I mean,
she's got Cloak of Death. She's got 5 attacks on 3s with crushing 1, so that would still be 10 attacks on 3s in the flank with.
Looking at what Sergey's doing now with the second Pegasus, that's exactly what he's trying to block out Kryza, picking up the flank charge on the Wiltfather, which I don't know if that's still a great choice for Sergey. Even still, so Joey pops the Plague Pots on the Wiltfather combat, and then Mother Kryza and the other shock troops kill the Pegasus, and they're still Cloak of Deathing on the Wiltfather as well. So I mean, this seems like an aggressive mission that he's not going to get a lot of bonus out of here.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 30 attacks, crush 1, aren't you, from the shock troops? And is it Bane Chant you've got on the Tangle? The Tangle's got Bane Chant, hasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds correct.
Yes. Yes, it does. And weakness. Yes. So take your pick.
Yeah. He's got is it the Aura of Vicious, is it, on the War Chief?
Yes.
So it's throwing that Wiltfather in it's a bit of a risk, I think. Either way you look at it.
And the Tangle has the Fury Aura, right? Yeah. So I mean, even if he spikes a high nerve test on those shock troops, they get to fight. So
yep. I mean, I guess I understand the desire, looking at it being like, okay, he's got a lot of unit strength, concentrated here, and he can bring it forward and box me out of my own center. So maybe I need to buy myself room to maneuver by keeping him on his side of the table for a turn. But this seems like an awfully expensive way to do that. Right.
Yes, it is. And it's, it'll be interesting talking to him when he comes in, what he's trying to achieve by doing it. Because if he moves his units up in response, so that he's trying to make most of the area that he's opened up by denying the shock troops a charge in the middle, then it's been a good ploy. But if he just rests on his laurels and goes, right, that's enough, I don't want to commit too much more. Here comes the Aura of Death from the Wiltfather there.
And he definitely gets a lot. He gets a good
with that,
6 units. It'll be interesting. Like you're saying, John, it'll be interesting to see what he does with the rest of his army to take advantage of this little roadblock he set up here. Because this Forces of Nature list, like Beasts of Nature, Air Elementals, they don't want to go into the front of anything. And he's kind of lined most of them up in the middle. So it'll be I don't currently see how he's going to sneak those guys into the flank or get some sneaky surge charges or something with them yet. But he's played this army a lot longer than I have, which is never. So I got to assume that he's got a plan, and I'm just really interested in seeing what it's going to be.
I mean, as the Sergey's results, he won all 3 of his games in the group, as far as I recall, using this army, and he's got some experience with it, and he hasn't changed it that much. I think, as you pointed out, the only thing he's really changed is an upgrade for the Wind Blast on his Greater Air Elemental. I can't remember what he said he lost to achieve that. So looking at what he's got the Forest Shamblers and the Wiltfather to scout up and really put pressure early on the enemy. And then he's got lots of these like Pegasi, etc., to do the chaff element, whereas everything else moves up in response. It's those air elementals who I don't think are good targets for shooting, are they? Defense 4, you're immediately thinking, oh, that's a good choice. I could hit those with shredders, or hit those with the nightmares. But unless you commit to a lot of damage, the regen will bring a lot of that back, won't it? So you have to be putting a lot on them, not just chip.
And he's also got some heal in the list.
And the between Kapoka and the 2 druids, the heal he's got 11 heal, 12 heal, something like that available to him. So and that's always the trick with these regen based lists versus a shooting list, right? Is how as the shooting player, how do you make the wounds stick? You know?
That the chip style, I'm just going to kind of spread it around, tends to not work. You pretty much have to focus fire and pick units up in one turn, or you just end up wasting your shots.
He has got a lot of drain life as well, hasn't he, Joey? So I've got a feeling that if Mother Chrysler can't get in, he's going to be draining the life out of that Pegasus as quickly as he can. But he's doing the right thing. I think Sergey's doing the right thing by he's being aggressive off the back of this aggressive play. So he's going for it.
He's got his safe zones marked out on the map so he can get his fast units as close as he can, because he does have a big speed advantage over Joey.
What do you think Sergey's targets are at the moment for things like his air elementals? What do you think he wants to be getting rid of early doors?
Oh.
The shock troops are the big threat, right? I mean, so the shock troops are what scares them. I mean, the nightmares are good units, but they can only do one or other. They can't interact in both phases of shooting and melee, right? So they're not like ice elementals or something like that he has to be concerned about. And I mean, they are a lower nerve target to try to chew through. The shock troops are the big beef of Joey's army, and that's where a lot of his unit strength is, and that's where Sergey is going to have to spend multiple turns breaking those units down. And so he wants to try to find flanks somewhere for some surge to try to get those in, right? Same thing with the greater air elemental, right? That's what he wants to try to get into a flank with that 3 MLA and good TC. Really break through on that, and it looks like Sergey dropped from the. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, so he's back. Okay.
Yes, I think you're right. It is. Oh, he keeps dropping in and out. I think you're right. The shock troops are the biggest target, and I think the actual air elementals won't do too bad against the shock troops unless the plague pots are in activation at that point in time. So it could become a question of when Joey activates the plague pots. When does he drop them? Does he drop them straight away, or does he wait until a combat's ensued? With plague pots and those kind of one-use items, especially defensive ones, it's a little bit like a Western standoff, isn't it? You're just there, pistols ready, and you're going, right, who's going to draw first? You know?
And this is one where I think Joey would have really liked to have included the. I mean, Sergey's list doesn't really have much for Joey to take advantage of with the phalanx upgrade on the shock troop, which normally I really like the phalanx upgrade on the shock. It's a great ad for them, right? But Sergey's list doesn't really have a lot for Joey to take advantage of that unless he's coming off of a hill somewhere, which the phalanx stripping thunders would be helpful. But the air elementals do have flies, so the phalanx would help those. Yeah. So
yeah, but I feel like even without phalanx, if Joey's put Sergey in positions where he's charging in the front with the air elementals, then like Joey's already kind of won the maneuvering game. I think you're right, though. I think the shock troops are going to be the defining factors of this game. If Sergey can get rid of them, then it's going to tilt the game in his favor. But it's going to take him a few turns to maneuver or grind on them.
He's holding
and so
back one Pegasus.
Where Sergey's going right now. Yeah. He's probably going to need that because it's so centrally located. He can throw it to grab one of these back sections pretty easily and force Joey to commit something bigger to try to pull one of those off of it, right? So, I mean, Sergey's going to have to commit the 4 Shamblers on the right and against the Nightmares and the Super Shredder at some point here, and probably the Air Elementals as well. The 4 Shamblers themselves, especially with 3 wounds on them, is not going to help. I mean, Sergey's getting ready to heal some of those 3 off, but I'd be surprised if he gets all of it.
It's the Forest Shamblers aren't going to do a huge amount of damage, are they? I mean, Joey would be better off just backing away from them and constantly chipping away with his Death Engine Spewer. And possibly even, I don't think the Shredders don't have arc, do they, Mike? Shredders have only got arc onto
Let me check. No, I don't think they have arc.
No.
On these Shamblers all the way over here?
On those Shamblers, yeah.
Yeah, no, the hill's in the way for the most part, and yeah.
So this is obviously a big turn for Sergey. He's taking his time. He's not.
Yep.
He's not
Very
rushing
important.
it.
One thing that I do like that I want to point out is where he's put his Naiad Horde here is right on the line between the left and the middle, so he can decide later in the game where he wants to put that unit strength.
It's if anybody's playing Control and wants to learn anything from that, that is, if you've got a solid, defensive horde, especially one that you can put in a wood like he's just about to throw it into, they are great. Just good positioning by, as you say, putting it right on the line. They can cover their own home sextant or whatever you want to call it. We haven't come to that point, but covering the home is really important in Control. But then having the flexibility to go between 2, and if he pushes up further up, 4 different areas can swing a game, and that's just good deployment. Because if you put them in the middle of that sextant, they just wouldn't have the flexibility that they do now. So it's really good play.
Can we fix that right now? Do we have that
I've got a Bloodworm. I like.
Go ahead, Nate.
I was going to say I've got a Bloodworm Legion at unit strength 5 that I love doing the same thing that he's done with those Naiad and Snares with. Right? It's just find some terrain that's going to help keep them alive longer in the game and camp as many quadrants or sextants as you can with them. So
yeah, we always want to call them quadrants because in old Warhammer Fantasy, the table quarters were things that you got points for at the end of the game. So we always want to call them quarters, or we always want to call them quadrants. But there's 6 of them, and sextants is probably the correct word, but it sounds dumb and no one wants to say sextant. So I feel like we should fix that by picking a better name right now. I'm going to go with Sector. How about Sector? Sector sounds cool, doesn't it?
Oh, Sector does, yeah. Sector does.
All right. Everybody got that? From now on, we're going to call them table sectors. Try that on for size next time you're playing Control. Be one of the cool kids.
I love it. That's awesome.
They're playing Kings of War. They're already a cool kid, man.
That's right.
One of the things I'm pointing out, and I think this is going to be a big thing in COP22, is Hex, right? Neither of these guys have taken Hex, and I think Hex would have had a massive impact in this game, because if he was able to Hex things like Kapoka, or even like, say, the Unicorn or one of the Druids when they're in a perfect position to surge, that would have been really good. And vice versa, hexing on Mother Kryza at this point in time would be amazing, wouldn't it? You just go, yeah, Mother Kryza. Or you go, oh, I don't want to have Scorched Earth cast on me, so I'll do it on that Broodmother over there. Is that all right? Oh yeah, no. So one thing, I looked at the list and looked at the matchup. Just one hex spell on either side would have made a massive difference.
Yeah, we've got some Scorched Earth.
The challenge I always have with looking at Hex is like, yeah, the challenge with Hex is the opportunity cost for it, right? I mean, so there's very few units that come with it. And you're typically swapping it out for something that you may want more, right? But then, as a Night Stalker player, I run into this a lot. It's now something that depends a lot on your opponent's army list also, and not just on what they've taken, but their positioning of it, their deployment of it, where you could be paying 20 points or 30 points for the spell and really not get a lot of mileage out of it unless you're focusing on that. So I agree, though. Some of these opportunities here to really lock down some of the spell casting that's going on here, especially when you've got some big heal shot sources like Kapoka, or if there's a critical surge, you really want to make an opponent consider kind of blocking that up. Now, what looks like is going on here is Sergey's shooting is doing way better. Oh, that's a wind blast. Okay. But it was way better than Joey's shooting was in the first turn. Holy cow.
That's a lot of wind.
6-inch wind blast is massive.
On 6 dice, yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you on the opportunity cost thing, and it's something that I've been wondering about a lot, and I think we even have an article on Dash 28 about it, and that is like, are people going to bring back the scroll caddy, right? Like the old Warhammer Fantasy, like I have to pay a tax for magic defense. I got to bring a character just to buy the stupid Dispel scroll. Like, how many people are going to feel the need to bring a character just to have Hex? Like, and I guess it depends on how heavy Magic gets in their local meta as to whether that becomes a go-to thing. Because it is a cost, right? Like, we're used to having very lean, focused lists where like every choice goes towards like countering something we know we're going to see or contributing to what we want our list to do. And there's not a lot of list build taxes out there. But now in this, with this Clash of Kings updates, if more shooting is going to be out there, then people might feel like, well, I have to take shooting defense now. I've got to pay some more points out of my allotment to protect myself from things that I know I'm going to come up against that I didn't have to worry about before. So people might have to like make the portion of points that they spend just to protect themselves from everything else in the meta a little bit larger, and spend a little bit less on what they want their list to actually do. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like how that pendulum swings in list building for the next few tournaments.
And I mean, Trickster's Wand is cheap enough to throw it out there, right? But rarely do you play kind of a naked hero that has no magic items on them and still 15 points to spare. It's not cheap like Blade of Slashing, Mace of Crushing cheap, right? It's 15 points.
Right.
So, and I mean, you look at that a lot of times, it's like, okay, then do I want to pay that, or would I rather pay the 25 points to get Bane Chant on a BSB with the loot,
Exactly.
So
I've been wondering if we're going to see Hex Wand bearers instead of loot bearers popping up.
I think
certain Elvish players I've spoken with. Go ahead, Tom.
We've got a delay with you, Nathan. So I'll start something, and then you'll start something, and we end up clashing against each other. So I think what will happen the next time, I think I'll just crack on. What I was kind of alluding to by mentioning the hex element is that I kind of want to understand where it's going to be, kind of going into this new edition. How many opportunities or how many times is hex going to be relevant in the game? So rather than just going, is it going to be worth it? I'm not sure. It's more of a case of going, what are people using? What are people taking? Would it be a good thing to have against those? So like Forces of Nature, I'd imagine you're still going to see Lightning Bolt. You're going to see some Surge. You're going to see some Heal. So that's worth having it for them, I feel at least. And then you're also going to see it against Ratkin because they always have the blinking Tangle, don't they? The Tangle's always there. Now, there are going to be lots of lists that don't take a lot of magic. But I think the actual number of lists that are going to be taking magic is increasing. So has it got to that point now where it's worthwhile always having Hex, or is it not? So it's a good question.
Looks like
you make a good point there, because think about a lot of these.
It was an interesting moment with double sixes on the left flank with what is this unit? Tunnel Runners. But it doesn't matter anything, I think.
Yeah, we were too busy talking about Hex meta to actually look at what's actually going on in the game. Sorry, Sergey.
But we were very interested in your moves there in the middle. We see you've kind of committed the Wildfather right into the front of one of those big hordes, and did a pretty good number of wounds. And then we saw you positioning one of your flying chaff pieces to give it some flank support. Can you can you give us some insight into what your strategy is here in the middle with those very aggressive opening?
Yes, it was a bit risky, but without flank charges from nightmares or other court of shock troops, Wildfather cannot be killed with one counter charge of just one court, especially with weakness. But with some support, I can kill central unit with great unit strength form, and maybe Joseph need to take some risk now, because he needs to stop my Pegasus. He needs to stop my another Forest Chamblers, because I think with some support, Wildfather can kill Central Fort, and I think it will be big loss for Joseph. That's just my opinion.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, it's definitely a very aggressive opening, but you move the rest of your stuff up well. So usually with control, people kind of start out with some table sectors in mind that they want to try to hold. Which parts of the table are you trying to hold by the end of the game?
Have you decided?
Okay.
Okay. You had to go back.
It's a language barrier thing.
That's fine.
Maybe text Sergey. We'll text him and go, which table sectors are you thinking about holding?
He wasn't on the screen for the other part.
Yeah, that's fine. Or it's possible that Joey needed him back to ask him a question or something. That's fine. All right, so he's just trying to get really aggressive in the middle, it sounds like, to create some opportunities and maybe force Joey to commit some stuff and maybe make some mistakes and open up some flanks, I'm guessing.
It's really funny. We're just watching the I'm going to aura of life. No, sorry, I can't remember what the auras are called. Cloak of Death.
Cloak of Death. Yep.
No, I'm going to Cloak of Death you. Yeah.
Sergey's moved his wound counter here. I wonder if they noticed that Nightmare Horde might have had a flank on the Wiltfather. It's hard to see because of where he's put his wound right now. But
see, I think
a minute ago, I want to say there was.
I think he does. I think he just catches the corner there, which is something that I was looking at, and I'm not sure that because he could have just put his Pegasus a little further over to pull the Wolffather over a little more, and that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it was
and I mean that's the Strider Horde.
Yeah, like when I saw that he was casting Scorched Earth, or rather Weakness, I was expecting him to be casting it on those guys, because they're the Striders, and I figured they're going to come out swinging, and so keeping them back or at least hindering them for this turn, I thought would have been, with Scorched Earth or bumping them down with Weakness would have been what I went for, but he's decided to do it on the Shock Troop Horde, find the Wolffather instead. And apparently we missed a lucky waiver on these tunnel runners, with only 2 wounds of shooting and a boxcar roll while we were talking. Yeah. So that's kind of big because since Sergey turned these Forest Shamblers back towards the middle, that kind of gave Joey an opening where he might have been able to throw these tunnel runners forward and get them into the flank of all the flying stuff down here and basically just threaten the flank of Sergey's center. But now, he's got to pull them back.
Yeah, I think that's where the Pegasus was kind of moving across to possibly chaff up the tunnel runners. So just hanging there, ready to kind of just leap into play. Because I thought that would have been the play from Sergey there. But you're right. It was there. I just, double 6 early doors where like Joey's rolling terribly. It is more UB dice. Okay, so I think the only one, for me, the only thing that maybe concerns me just about the speed of which Sergey's attacking is just these water elementals. Sorry, the wind elementals on the right hand side. He wanted to avoid committing those early. It's still early doors, isn't it? Turn 1. So I wonder what his plan is long term for them.
Yep. So this is it's Bane Chant rolled by the Tangle onto the Shock Troop horde that had weakness cast on it, so that cancels out weakness basically. He did pop the Plague Pots on this unit fighting the Wolffather this turn, which is pretty much what we expected. Now probably looking for Drain Life. Yep. Probably Drain Life on that. Yeah, on the Unicorn.
So who's actually charged into the Pegasus?
That is Mother Kryza.
Mother Kryza.
Would you have preferred Drain Life at this stage onto him, or is it just a case of I want to guarantee a kill? Is that what you kind of his thought process is on with it? Because she's got Drain Life 5 as well, hasn't she? She got Drain Life, or might be going wrong.
Mother Kryza. Let me see. No, she got Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, okay.
But she does have Cloak of Death, so sliding her in there gets you a free wound on the Wolffather.
Yeah, and she's going to be on 3s, and because she's going to have the hill charge as well. That's going to be 3s and 3s, or 3s and 2s. So it's a bit more of a guarantee, I guess.
Here's his Elite Nightmares taking shots at the Forest Shamblers in the woods. 18 shots at them 5s and 5s. Only 4 hits on 18 dice. That's the Elite rerolls, so that picks up 2 more. And just 1 wound. Vicious, still not. Nope.
It's galling, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a vicious roll. That one.
Yeah. So this is the Death Engine Spewer.
What's the Death Engine Spewer's defense and stuff?
There you go. That was a good roll.
That was a good roll, yeah. Because it's piercing 2 with the rattle cannon.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So that was 5 wounds. So it puts them up to 8. 8 on dash 17 Far Shambler. So now just looking for a lucky 9, I think. No, 9 twice because the Druid is just within 6.
Yeah.
Nightmares Strider is going to open up on the other Far Shamblers over here on the left through the terrain.
2 damage, that's about average for what their shooting is going to be. Yeah, so that's not too bad.
And so shooting with that unit, obviously that means he's not going to flank the Wolffather with them.
Yeah, here comes a first Shredder. Couple of hits.
Again, shooting at the Far Shamblers over here on the
4
left.
shots for the Shredders really do make them a little bit more reliable, don't they, as well?
Yeah. There's going to be, those are the blast rolls, I think.
Yes.
Blast D3, 2s. And he rolled them as D3, so that'll be 4.
So it should be 4s.
Piercing 1 level 4, that's 4.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Puts them at 6. That puts them
And shattered as well.
In space where you can get them with 11s.
And they're 4s to hit, aren't they, these guys? Or they ignore cover?
They ignore cover.
5s to hit. Right, okay, so there's only 1 hit.
They are
1 more
5s.
damage. Yeah. I think he was hoping he had something else to shoot.
So they're an effective 8 because of shattering.
Because of shattering, yep. So also a 9 twice.
Yeah. He's going to be lucky. He's going to be lucky to take.
It's going to be luck, yep.
One of these hordes.
Nope, this is by 1.
I wish he'd do it the other way around.
And a 7. Not bad nerve rolls, but not quite enough for those units.
1 off on each. 1 off on each. How?
Yeah.
It's actually not great. Oh no, because there's no shattering on the right hand side. There was no shattering on the right. No. Calling.
Death Engine Spew is not shattering. You're correct. All right, on to combat. Pretty much all the actions right here. We're gonna have okay, he's gonna do the horde first. The shock troop horde against the Wildfather.
18's not bad.
Okay, that's on the plus side.
9
of that.
damage. Oh, I'd take that. 9 damage.
That was nice. Yeah.
Oh, it was 2 vicious as well, so 10 damage. Oh yeah.
That's pretty good.
Still a big roll. It's still an 8, isn't it, to take these guys out? To take a Wildfather out.
Dash 19, so yeah.
And he got the first.
No, the first one was vicious. The second one was just. Was his
but that is a lot of damage on the Wildfather.
I think with the plague pots, he's got a chance because even the shamblers coming in aren't going to swing that combat enough. I don't think. Because what they nerve at the moment, they're 22, 24, aren't they at the moment?
Yeah. Inferior as well.
Yeah, with Rally. All right, and now here's Mother Kryza on the Pegasus.
Have that, Sonny Jim.
4 wounds, I think. Yeah, puts it up to a total of 6. And the Pegasus is 10-12, so 6 twice, that's a 4. So that'll waver it.
Joey's nerve rolls have not been the kindest so far.
The central air elemental horde though now has got a beautiful line into Kryza's flank though.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to want to put them into it and not commit the other shock troop horde, but I mean they could really look at picking up Kryza. This turn.
Yeah, without the ensnare, she's not as tough, is she?
No. No. She defends 5, 13, 15. But an air elemental horde in a flank will rack up some damage. They do hit on 3s.
She is 15, 17, isn't she? As long as she's within the range of those 2 hordes. So she's.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And because the air elementals aren't any crush. I mean, for me, air elementals are a good opportunity for the new helm on the ram because that would just be a nice item to go with them. I've seen it with the hammer measured force is also a good possible option. Although some people think that's a trap.
Problem with the helm of the ram though, doesn't that strip away your Pathfinder now?
Yeah, I think so.
I think even another magic item.
It does. It does, but when you've got a flying surgible unit, Pathfinder's not as big a thing, especially when the rest of your army is also Pathfinder. I think. Maybe. I could be wrong.
Interesting. So he did not send the Forest Shamblers into Nightmares, possibly because then there might be enough space for the Tunnel Runners to fit on their flank.
I think this is a surge.
You think?
Will the Shamblers hit the
Oh, I see. Yeah, they're going to hit the
just fractionally before they hit the thing. It's going to be a hindered charge, so they're going to be on 5s, but that's then you're talking 36 attacks on 5s and 3s. Big difference. Because charging in the front made no sense to them because they'd be on 6s to hit, going over the terrain and the ensnare.
Right.
Oh, here comes the protection. You can't land there though. You're cheap. It's almost like somebody made a wall that was just in the right place. I think at this stage is worth pointing out we've got the other quarterfinals happening this weekend. We've got Tom Robinson, who we all may be aware of. He is going to be playing against Pascual, who's our Spanish champion in the tournament. That is going to be tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. GMT. And then we have the third game, which is going to be our good friend Paige versus Jeffy Trash on Sunday night, isn't it? That's what time is that? EST? I think it's 8
It is
p.m.
8:30 p.m. EST or 1:30 a.m. Monday morning GMT.
Yeah.
Or 12:30 p.m. Australian.
I know, for example, Tom's taken a completely new list, a Brother Mark list. That is definitely worth checking out. I think Pasquale changed his list as well. He was running a really cool, like, Sylvankin army, and I wish we'd had that on the cast because he was using some really cool things in it. But he's regressed slightly, although he's got greater air elementals and 2 of them in his army. See how that works out against Tom Robinson. We were just saying as well, Paige is running his Forces of Nature. No, Order of the Green Lady.
Order of the Green Lady.
So that's not changed. He's kept it pretty much the same. But then he's going to be playing over at Jeff. And again, I think Jeff has kept his Forces of the Abyss pretty much the same, although he has taken out the cool things, which were the Croniuses. He had 2 Croniuses in his army, and he's taken them out. I'm like, but we wanted to see the Croniuses. Damn you, Jeff. That was the entire point.
Yeah, the Croniuses being able to bounce that heal around to each other in multiple combats seems like a really neat tactic. That's something I'd be really curious to see a lot of Forces of the Abyss players bring in. That seems like a fun rule to include on those units.
Are you thinking having them side by side so they both be able to damage mitigate against each other?
Exactly. Yep. So as long as they're close enough, right? I mean, yeah, if you can put them in the same combat, they're nothing to sneeze at to begin with, right? They're solid units, and then just healing each other that whole time could really cause a lot of challenges for other players, especially considering Forces of the Abyss can get drain life fairly easily in that list as well, correct? If I remember correctly.
I don't know.
So I don't remember everything that's in that list, but
do Abyssal Warlocks have access to drain life? I can't remember. They tend not to take it though, because the Abyssal Warlocks tend to have their Firebolts, don't they? And just rely on them for 85 points.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
But then you also have the Cronius you can bring in with a lot of wound mitigation, and the Cronius. Well, I mean, the Cronius itself can take drain life, but yeah, or the Well of Souls with a lot of its wound mitigation, what it can do.
Yeah, we're kind of expecting to see the Well of Souls make a big comeback with this cock update, I think.
Yeah, it definitely got a bit better. I think, like a lot of things, it got a bit better. And it's going to be, as always, interesting seeing how it sells up. I think if there's any indication, Jeff knows how he, what gets the most out of armies. You got to say he's a really good player.
Right.
So the fact that he's dropped the 2 Croniuses, it does make you wonder whether the Cronius is actually, or that kind of combo was working for him at all. Because if it's not, and he's obviously gone for this this change, again, it's like one of those things, isn't it? You think about it, you go, oh, that'd be really good as long as it works together. But how often you're able to get that combo to work together? How often you can have 2 Croniuses in a fight at the same time close enough? It's very situational. And then also whether they really need to heal each other. Yeah.
And that game is coming up on Sunday in the evening if you're in the US, or midday Monday if you're in Australia, and probably a little too late to stay out in the UK or Europe.
Yeah, maybe. You might get frowned upon. We did have one game's already played. He was supposed to play on the weekend, but they weren't able to do it. So Thomas Alexanderson played against Cy Brand. Cy was using Ratkin, but he decided to update his Ratkin list to take some crazy 8 8 horde list. Was it an 8 horde list that he took? Any of you guys see the list? I told you to look at it.
Oh yeah, you said. Oh god, yeah. 4 hordes of warriors and 4 hordes of wretches.
Mm-hmm.
Triple weapon team. Tunnel runners with sharpness. War chief.
Yeah.
Birthing daughter. I don't know that I've ever even heard of that. With the
It's
wand.
one of the new ones. The birthing daughter is one of
Okay.
the new ones, and
Okay.
it's the Aura Strider he was going for because he gets that on.
For anything expendable. Oh my god, that's like the whole army.
Yeah, this is
like all the hordes. Oh my god, all 8 hordes get Strider. So how did that game go then?
Well, I was going to ask you guys how you think it was going to go. So he's got this crazy list, and then Thomas has taken Twilightkin again, but maybe not gone as crazy with the stuff he has.
Yeah, so he's got an Impaler regiment with the Scream Shard. He's got 2 Glade Stalker regiments. He's got Blade Dancer Neophytes, which has come with Elite. It's Gargoyles, 2 regiments of Horsemen, a Shadow Hulk, an Assassin, a Summoner Crone, kitted out the way you would normally do it, with Host Shadow Beast, the Soulbane on a Dread Fiend, Mikael, and Lathiel Blackheart.
I like the fact you just skipped over the way that you would normally do a Summoner Crone. He had Host Shadow Beast 10. He went for the highest Shadow Beast he could get.
Yeah,
because obviously he was going, let's give it to
normal now,
Mikael,
right?
you know.
Right. That's just how this is going to work now, right?
Yeah.
This is
Mikael is going to run up to your dragon and go, "You're dead, mate."
Yeah.
How do I know? Well, I've now got 12 attacks doubled.
Right.
You're going,
right.
What? Whoa.
Right.
Well, calm down.
The Summoner Crone has the Crown of the Wizard King, upgrade to the Scepter of Shadows for Wicked Miasma, and she's got Drain Life and Host Shadow Beast 10. Like, there you go. There's your 160-point Summoner Crone. You will see it in every list that has Mikael, which will be any list that has Twilightkin, I'm guessing.
It's just sickening.
Yeah, it's interesting, but then you look at size list. You're like, but there's 8 hordes that have a lot of nerve. Like, sure, attack me all you want. What do I care?
Yeah. And Thomas's list does not have an incredible volume of attacks. I mean, his Abyssal Horseman regiments, they're the only ones that have a decent number at 18. The Glade Stalkers, even with their 12 attacks and being elite, that's just not going to chew through the nerve on Cyber very quickly. So this was Control they played as well. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Control. So when you're looking at like a Ratkin list that was running, what was it, 30 odd unit strength? 28 unit strength.
Yeah, so I would guess that
the way you're phrasing this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way he's phrasing it leads me to believe that Thomas won. But I'd be curious how well he worked that out. So here the wretches are only defense 2. So I mean, any of the shooting that's in that list is just going to be, hits are going to equal wounds, and so I guess you can pick those up relatively quickly. I don't know.
I think I had a comment from him, so I think this explains out.
All right. Well, I've got my guess, because when I first started in this hobby, it was me and my college roommate, and he played Skaven, and I played Dark Elves. So I know how this game looks, and that is the Dark Elf player kills a whole lot of shit and still manages to lose the game. So that's my guess, is that Thomas killed a whole lot of shit, and Sai still won the scenario.
Well, I've got to find this comment before I can really give you one way or the other.
Spend 6 turns killing rats, and there are still more rats. That's how I remember these games going.
Why won't these rats just go away? I've shot them loads.
Why are there so many?
Well, rather than dragging you on for too long, it essentially just came down to Twilight Glade Stalkers and Drain Life. and just took out a unit a turn. It sounds like, and just basically killed so much stuff that there were no rats left.
Oh, that's good.
And it was a quite convincing victory to the end to Thomas. I was going, like you, I was literally looking at it and going, how did he manage to do that, right? But I suppose when you throw that much shooting on and then you've got 2 horseman regiments to kind of back it up as well, right? All you're doing is just softening stuff up and then smashing a unit a turn with those guys. But apparently the birthing daughter isn't great. And I think it's one of those things, it's kind of hard to go, right, well, it gives Strider to expendable stuff, but the expendable stuff still only hits on a 5. It's not like he's turning around and going, oh yeah, I can really now smash you in the face. No, you can just go slightly better than you did before.
Cool. Good for Thomas.
So we've got, that's it. Unfortunate for Sai. He should have won, but he didn't.
He didn't.
Looking at the game, I do like the fact that Sergey's being really aggressive and everything is kind of getting into a position to charge next turn. I'm not sure about these air elementals. He's pushed them into a position where they're going to surge and are going to go and try to go into the flank of this of Mother Kryza.
Mm-hmm.
But do they fit?
I think they will when he touches and picks up in places. I think they'll be able to fit in this space.
It will be interesting.
And I think that was, a Bane Chant attempt on 2 dice?
Oh, double 1 as well. Who was that with? Is that if only they'd told us who
that
it
was
is.
Possibly so.
That would be whichever druid this is. So that's one with the amulet, so that's why I didn't re-roll 1 die.
Yeah. We've got the 2 dice he needs to surge into the flank. So we've got a flank charge from the Shamblers.
Uh-huh. And the way he moved it, it looked like he may have nicked these nightmares, but I'm pretty sure he and Joey would have agreed beforehand that that's going to be a flank.
Looked at the lines when we looked at it originally, I think it was in by maybe like a quarter of an inch, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And he's looking for 2 successes here on the next one, which he gets with 4. So that will be a flank on Mother Kryza, and now we just make sure that he can fit without overlapping his own unit or bumping that shot troop.
Ooh, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. No, I don't think he can fit. He's overlapping both right now.
Yeah.
The thing that got me a little bit is when he looked at I was watching it earlier, is that he realized with the Pegasus in combat, he wasn't going to be able to fit. Because I think he did that. He moved it up and then looked at it. And then he went, all right, I'm going to back off the Pegasus. And they went, no, instead, I'll just throw in the air elemental.
The greater, yeah. If he just left the greater air elemental out, he could have fit that or in the flank.
So there might be a furious conversation of like, no, can I take it all back? And I think it may be a bit too late.
At the point in time when you're rolling spells, it's too late to go back and move things in. Right. So he goes forward until he basically touches the unit and then stops a millimeter away. I would imagine is how this works. Unless Joey's going to let him try to somehow fit it in again, but we've seen it; it's not going to fit.
It's probably worth mentioning in the chat that we've got Sam Garcia, who was a great guy taking part in the tournament. He's been spamming us with like some messages. We haven't even acknowledged him. Sorry, Sam. Right, but you're committed. I like it.
I believe he's talking about Host Shadow Beast on Mikhail. Oh, we have a question in the stream. Is such charge possible? I think our answer is it doesn't. The unit doesn't fit.
If the unit doesn't fit, if it doesn't fit, so you just quantify the answer that way, and the result will be he will just essentially they'll rock straight up and pretty much touch. They'll be touching tips, but they won't be in combat.
Right. And so then do you stop like a millimeter away or?
Essentially, yeah, it's
just out of contact.
Imperceptible nudge. Yes, yeah, like Nathan said. Nathan did call that. You did call that charge early, didn't you, Nathan? And it was just he could have worked it, but he decided he was just too greedy. Just too greedy.
Yeah, including the greater air elemental, and like you said earlier, that's really what messed him up on this. If he had not made that charge as well, it would have been. And I know that he needed it, especially if he was going to check the other shock troop horde with that Pegasus. He didn't need the greater elemental in there also. But
I don't know if we should correct him at this point in time, but he should really, the air elemental horde should be pretty much touching Mother Chrysler in the flank, but
should be. I don't think it matters that much.
A bit of heal on to good old Wilt Father. Oh, 3 heal as well. That's the most galling thing when you have a defense 6 unit and somebody goes, here they come back to life. No.
Yep.
Wilt Father, well, with the 4 Shambler horde in the flank now, I don't know. I think, with the plague pots being popped, he's not going to get a whole lot off of Wilt Father.
Well, here we
so
go.
That's still an uphill fight right there.
Oh, who's he doing? Is this the
air elemental? The greater air elemental blah on Mother Chrysler.
There you go. So 3 damage. Yeah, she's all right.
She's fine. She's what, like 15, 17 with all the rally right now?
Yes. Not sure you should go up to 5 damage, but there you go.
All right.
Big one.
Now the big one. So there they are on the flank, needing 5s?
11 and 7. Well, that's still, it puts them on 16. So it all comes down to.
There's a vicious reroll that'll put it up to. Yep, that'll put it up to 8.
So they are now.
There's the Wilt Father.
17. The Wilt Father's done it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still gets 8
look
hits.
At that dice roll. He had 10 hits on 3s.
But 6 will still, 6 rolled, we'll still pick it up.
That's massive.
All right. Well done there.
He got lucky when he needed it, because if you look at his rolls, 6 twice. If he'd have done hit 5 times with the Wilt Father instead of 8 times, they'd done 13 plus whatever they were on. They were 9 already. No, they'd still got him. He still got him on a kind of an average roll. There you go. What can you do? I think Sergey's probably positioning these Shamblers to avoid the flank charge from the chariots, the tunnel runners over on the left.
Yeah.
Has he positioned them correctly so they can't sneak in? Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. The nightmares are the same size as them.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good pivot. Otherwise, the Mother Chrysler could have corkscrewed onto the Wilt Father.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this? Oh, this is the Pegasus flubbing.
Right. And here's
he's doing his job.
Far Shamblers.
He's doing his job.
Yeah. Wow.
That's really good for the Far Shamblers over here.
That is ridiculously good. 8 damage. Are they rallied by the shock troops? Yeah, Brute Enforcer and the shock troops. So
they are, 18. And the Brute Enforcer. Yeah.
I do like Death Engine Spewer is some form of German tank.
With a little rat sticking on the top.
Tank destroyer of some kind.
So he
the rats in the cars over there too.
Oh yeah,
the tunnel runners. Yeah.
Okay, did he do the greater air on Mother Chrysler?
That's already done. Okay. That's already done.
All right, over to Joey's turn 3.
Well, I think the death of the shock troops is a good result. I think for Sergey, because he's immediately just taken 4 unit strength. Definitely put in a good position, but I think he may lose both of these Forest Shambler units.
I think so. Like Joey's definitely got a second line back there that can come in and clean up.
And there's an outside chance he loses both of those and the Wilt Father this turn, because the Tangle is not trivial in hand to hand. And so the Tangle and the Broodmother, between the two of them, yeah, it's only crushed one, but still, the Tangle and Mother both going into the Wilt Father with already 8 wounds on him could definitely get him over the hump for that. I could see 4 wounds coming out of the two of them pretty easy, and at 12, now you're done for that. So, not that the Wilt Father's going to you're off of Mother Kryza as well.
Yep. Yeah, he'll take that one auto since she's still there.
Do you check the arc on the air elementals on the right hand side? I'm only thinking, and also draw a little line, see if they can see the flank of those shock troops. You got it. Yeah.
They can. It's only 18 inches away, so yeah, they could flank these shock
Joey's
troops
got to be
next
aware of
turn.
that. Joey's got to be aware of that, because that could lead to a dead shock troop unit very easily.
Yeah, and that puts him in a really difficult position, because if he can, so obviously shock troops can kill the Pegasus, but he can't really back up much because he's got a building behind him, and he can't really turn to face these air elementals because he's got another air elemental horde right up here off his flank to begin with.
He's got to think about a plan for that and check
If
it.
he
Karen, Nathan.
He doesn't really need the Brute Enforcer into those Force Chamblers, though. So the Brute Enforcer could easily sidestep over and block off that flank of the shock troops between the Impassable and itself to keep those air elementals out.
True.
That would be the simplest way to mitigate that. So
yeah, 100%. Would you throw in the Spear as well? Because the Spear isn't that good in combat with the Shamblers, but I think he probably tips it, doesn't he, if he goes in?
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. Because he needs to kill those Shamblers this turn. He cannot afford them to hang around another turn, especially considering next turn Sergey will get his Inspiring from the Druid up there to support them again. So he's got to break them this turn where they're unsupported.
So this is a mark of a good player.
I don't know that Joey sees it.
He doesn't see it. Because what you would do is you would go, right, I'm going to kill the Pegasus. Where do the shock troops reform to? Then where do I need to put the Brute Enforcer to make sure that I don't get flanked? And he hasn't seen it at all. So if Sergey's put it into a position to do that, that's really good play, because he. Remember, I was saying earlier, they're going, where are they going? What use are they going to be over on that flank? And if it means that he can take a flank onto those shock troops, especially if Joey doesn't cover it, because he could easily go, I'm just going to turn these Nightmares just to face them. He could completely miss the fact they're going to get flank charged, or he might not see it until too late, and it's still too late by then, isn't it? You go, oh no.
Yeah, because even if he throws this Broodmother into the central air elemental hordes, so that he can turn the shock troops to face the ones over here, there's still a beast of nature here that might be looking. I'm sorry, that's a unicorn, but there's still a unicorn over here, and another Pegasus that will be able to fly, that are then looking at the flank of that shock troop horde that could go in on a double flank charge. Or the Wilt Father, if he's still there. Yeah, I'm assuming he's at minimum going to put the Tangle into the Wilt Father.
He's got to have a plan.
Is there a potential? Is it possible that if Joey kills the Pegasus with the second shock troop horde, can he rotate out of line of sight because of the hill from these air elementals on the right?
Ooh.
I don't know if he. I mean, we can't spin his unit.
No,
he would have to turn
as close as it is from just eyeballing it on money.
He would have to turn all the way around.
But even then, look, draw a line from the air elementals and just cover the hill.
Well, they can see right there. Right?
Yeah.
And that's their arc.
And then vice versa from the other air elementals. So you're talking about... it's just not going to work.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
This could be a big thing. This could be a big thing in the game if Sergey spots it as well and takes it on.
Yeah.
Well, he's grounding one air elemental unit, so that's that. The only thing is they can withdraw and then charge. Now, if he's doing that, he's going to have to
so he's
block
put Kryza into the air element war.
Yeah, it's to guarantee the damage.
So if the yeah. So considering the shock troops kill the Pegasus, if they overrun probably 4 inches, they'll get out of that arc from the air elementals on the right.
I love the fact we completely missed. There's a war chief. There's a war chief hidden underneath a 1. A war chief suddenly goes, hello! Oh! Charges out from nowhere.
So that war chief has 5 attacks on 3. He's crushing 1. He should pretty convincingly ground that greater air elemental.
And he's got vicious as well.
He's got vicious, yeah. So he should be able to do it. That air elemental might have some other options depending on where things are around him, because he can, do the same thing. He can back off and corkscrew potentially.
I think he's looking to hold up the Wilt Father here rather than charge him. So I think are the shredders actually able to target him? Yeah, because they're not indirect either, are they? Are they indirect?
They're not. No, they're not indirect. They just ignore cover. So he can shoot with the Tangle and the Broodmother and both shredders.
I mean, at this stage as well, would you actually, instead of charging in, the nightmares, you just turn to shoot the Wilt Father and go, I don't care. You can charge me, and then you can expose yourself to the sharpness guys, and you're never going to cause enough damage with hindered shamblers for me to be worried. Right. So why don't I just turn and shoot the Wilt Father? Kind of guarantee that kill, because a Wilt Father dead is like top priority on most people's list, isn't it? Like, what do I want to kill in the opponent army? Wilt Father.
Yeah. So he's trying to sidestep the Tangle to see if he can get out of the Wilt Father's arc, and it wouldn't. But the Wilt Father basically just has. It's just going to have 2 options next turn. He'll be able to charge either the Broodmother or the Tangle if he's still there. Neither Kryza is, of course, still alive.
I feel like Joey is saving those Strider boots for later game, right? Because, I guess he wants to be able to put that Horde of Nightmares into the ensnares. Because, the shooting okay, but he can do a little bit better hand to hand, in my opinion. Because he's benefiting from Crush and Vicious and everything else at that point.
Right. He's definitely got a lot of work to do this turn. Sergey really got up in his face fast. And even popping the Plague Pot still lost one of the 2 hordes. So that definitely puts him on the back foot. And he's got, most of Sergey's army up in his face. So he needs to pick up some of these units.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of shooting at the Wilt Father. I think I'd rather be in hand-to-hand with the Wilt Father at this point, especially with the Tangle.
Mm-hmm.
Tangle, because it's got, it's going to benefit from its fury, it's fearless. It's got a lot of things here. Now, it is going to bring Fireball to the list. So, that's
Fireball
obviously
is
what you got to shoot at it with. But yes, yep.
So with that Fireball 10, if he manages to get 1 wound through, it's really 2. I think I'm with you. I think I would rather be in hand-to-hand. But I'm not much of a shooting guy anyway.
Actually, he's going to be Fireball because Tangle's special rule gives extra dice. So he's probably going to be Fireball 11, I guess. So only 1 more die. He's not going to get that much bonus off of it, but.
I know you're more of a hand-to-hand combat guy, Mike, but come on, this is you got to win a game, mate, right? forego your standards and just
Right.
just.
If you brought this much shooting, you should use it.
Correct. Yeah. I played Rats this week. My local club was against a Rat Kid slave army, and having two of those hordes of nightmares just there waiting for you as soon as you, because he was using a lot of the formation with the exploding rats. So he's basically throwing all these rats towards you to then blow up in your face and then shoot you with like these nightmares. And they're just mean now. I mean, the fact that they got like elite all around just means that they can just tip combat, which is great.
So he's decided to charge the nightmares into the shambling road.
Shoot, man, shoot!
I think Joey's still thinking that between the shredders, the tangle, and the broodmother, that is going to be enough shooting on the Wilt Father. But
has he seen his dice so far this game? Come on, right? You know.
Yeah. All right, time for shooting. See where we're going first.
Drum roll followed by a sad trombone.
Well, we will see what he can manage here.
All right, because he's obviously top of three. You've got to ask Joey when he comes back in. Did you see the air elementals into the flank of the shock troops? And that's when his eyes might go from going, "Ooh,
right.
Oh."
we might be asking him that right as Sergey is moving them in. He's like, "Wait a minute, it's up here." We're like, "Yeah, sorry." It's up here. We're like, all right. He declared shooting, and I guess now we are going in.
Drain lifing I don't like the drain life on the greater elemental. Yeah.
No, not until you've done the rest of the shooting. Do the rest of the shooting first.
First, yeah. There's one wound there. Healing what? Mother Kryza?
No, the nightmares
or the nightmares. Sure.
I'll do the shredders next because the shredders have got one target, haven't they? The shredders are going for one target.
Yeah. Yeah, they gotta shoot the Wolf Father. You might as well shoot them both at the same time.
He's gonna put it over the top of the ensnarers, and we're gonna go no.
He hasn't marked any other units.
Unicorn. I'm gonna shoot the unicorn. I do like these little pop-ups on Ubi on the left-hand side because they actually now tell you when you've just selected a unit. So sometimes you can see when your opponent goes, "Oh crap," when they click on a unit and go, they're half expecting the shock troops to come up in a second. I was just thinking, if the shock troops sidestep, will they get a rain? No. No!
What are you doing, man?
We should just check to see how many sixes he gets, or fives.
4.
He's only shot one at it so far. Okay.
That's going to be 3 more wounds. So I'll put it at a 9 on a 10-12 unit?
It'd have been 1 damage on the Wilt Father, just so you know. Okay, yeah, so the other one's going to shoot at him. Right.
They're piercing 1. Yeah, you're right.
Piercing 1, yeah.
2 hits?
2 hits, yeah, come on. You want a 6.
I guess maybe the other one might have been shooting with cover, so he didn't want to bother with cover shots.
No, they can all cover, don't they? No damage. Oh.
So it's all down to the tangle then.
Should have stayed here. That's why he should have done the tangle on the Wilt Father. And this is the shooting priority and the ordering of it is so critical for some of these things, right? One of my local clubmates runs a very heavy shooting army, and it's always he's always going through. All right, what should shoot first? Where?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think he just cast Bane Chant.
Did he not cast fire?
He did not. He cast Bane Chant on his nightmares. And then he rolled a 3.
He's accepting he's not going to kill the Wiltfather. Essentially, what he's doing, he doesn't feel he could do, because what do you need to kill the Wiltfather? He needed to do another 4 points of damage to get him into a 6, 5 points of damage to get him into a 5. He didn't feel he had the confidence to be able to do that with the weapons he had. Still, though, I think it's a missed opportunity.
Well, if he shot with the nightmares instead of, yeah.
All right, well, here's the Nightmares in combat against the Forest Shamblers Bane Chanted, so they're on 4s to hit and 3s.
6, but they're vicious. Now they are vicious. That's another 3 damage. That's 9. Yeah, that puts them on in where you want them to be.
And 6 will pick them up. Yep.
Got him. Didn't need the vicious, just saying, because looking at the rolls. But still, they have it.
What's this, a backup, I'm guessing? Yep. Okay, backs them up.
Does that put them into the Wiltfather now, or is the Wiltfather?
No. They weren't in any danger there. It puts them too far back for the ensnarers to get to them for certain.
I had a small heart attack then when I thought, is the War Chief mighty? Because if he wasn't, would the Wiltfather be able to go straight past him and straight into the flank of the shock troops? But he is mighty. We're okay.
3 hits and 2 damage, I think.
Vicious reroll. If he remembers.
Is the War Chief vicious? Oh, yeah, no, he has an aura vicious infantry only. So he should get it. I think he's gone on to Mother Kaiser.
3 damage there. It was one of the things that caught me out. You know the Abyssal Dwarf Hellfane, right? It gives an aura of +2 wild charge to infantry only. So you go, oh, okay, that's not bad. You need to take lots of infantry to get an advantage of it. Pat Zorro Allen got me in a game, and he just went, yeah, so I've got charge range of 14 inches with this thing. And I went, what? After spending a turn in your movement phase, going, right, okay, he's only got 12-inch range, so I can move here, and that'd be fine. He then charges out and goes, rah! I'm like, no! Damn you!
All right. He did 9 damage there?
Yeah, it's going to be...
Easily picks up the peg, but now...
Reposition.
Yeah,
can he sidestep and get out of range? Can he sidestep it? Oh, no, he's seen it. He's definitely seen it. But the thing is now they're out of position, aren't they? So they're now in a position where they can't target other units that have just been chaffed up.
Yeah. So yeah, he can get him into the front, and he's grounded the greater elemental, and and they're checking to see if on a backup they could get around, and I don't think they're going to be able to. The unicorn will still be able to flank them, but I don't know if that's going to matter. Just them on their own. And now we're checking fun things like if I back up and pivot and surge, can I get in?
There's no option for that anymore. Although he can back up and sidestep 5 inches, and that would probably put him in.
But that would put his leader point in the front, and then a surge would still be into the front.
He can't get into the flank. The entire thing they're looking at is because the flank at the moment is protected by the fact that you've got Mother Kaiser stopping the unit getting in. So he could sidestep and surge, but if he does that, he can't then put another unit in very easily, I don't think.
Right. Because if he charges these air elementals into the front, they'll be in the middle, and they'll box you out before you get there. You'll bump them instead.
So I still think it's worth finding out from Joey. When did you realize you were going to get flanked? Okay, another big combat though. He's got to kill these shamblers. I mean, if he kills these shamblers on the right hand side, it's not looking too bad for Joey at this point in time. He's still got a Wiltfather running around.
Well, it's still 3-3 though. Yeah, and it's still 3-3. I mean, Sergey still controls his side. Joey controls his. Joey's got to figure out to advance across and pick up at least one of these other quadrants, And with 7 wounds already on this right nightmare horde, those air elementals, if they go there, could easily pick that horde up, I think.
All right, and that does pick up the other 4 shamblers.
Yeah, I suppose if they're Bane chanted, it'd be 3s and 4s, wouldn't it, with the Air Elemental Horde?
Yeah, and so just depending on how he repositions the Death Engine and Brute Enforcer, he might not give him a charge on Nightmares.
Correct. You would just possibly back the Nightmares off, because if he just backs the Nightmares off, he would be all right.
Or walk the Death Engine forward.
I don't know why he's moving this. He's got to roll that, though. That's a D3 roll, right?
Yeah, so he's just checking where it's going. It's good play, Nathan. Don't worry.
Yeah, because that's kind of the thing. It's like, well, if I'm trying to get them out of line of sight of the air elementals, but if I go more than one, I end up in the woods and they can see me anyway, then I'm better off not taking the chance and rolling the sidestep.
It's very easy to say, but it's got to be the Nightmares in reverse. Because if you reverse the Nightmares, then they go D3 back, and then and I suppose the air elementals should still get in if they go too far back, but that's when you start to sidestep the Brute Enforcer as well. So the Brute Enforcer could then sidestep and cover the gap that they'd be able to fit into. And then you've got terrible options, because you could go into the shock troops, but then the Nightmares have still got arc on you.
Yep.
I think it's a Nightmare backup that would be my option in this. But again, it's very easy to do that.
Yeah. And the Nightmares backing up would only give you more line of sight to the front of the shock troops, making it easier to get a flank or at least a counter charge next time.
I mean, how far away are the air elementals? Have they got an easy flank charge onto the Death Engine?
No.
No, they would need a good surge roll. Yep. No, I mean, as in, could they fly 10, pivot?
Maybe they would still need a 2 or 3.
They could.
Yeah, and he's only got surge 4. Yeah. Brute Enforcer overrun, is it? Then is the Brute Enforcer going to close the gap?
I think you advance. I think you roll the Brute Enforcer first and see if he gets at least 2 or 3. Then the Nightmares can back up and not have a concern.
Can you just check the Brute Enforcer, Mike, and just see where he would be if he rolls a 6? If he rolls a 6, he's fucked.
Yeah. He's all the way over here in front of the Death Engine at that point.
But Joey's going to be. I'm gonna love talking to Joey in a minute when he comes back in and goes. So, what were you thinking?
Right.
Always think about the results of your of combats. Always been looking.
It looks like he's just turned them a little bit, and he's hoping that there won't be enough space for him to pick up and place there. I'm not sure if that's true.
He's going to fit. He's going to fit easy in there, isn't he?
Yeah, that's why he shouldn't have turned the Enforcer. He should have advanced D16 forward. 1 or like a 2+, I think, would have effectively blocked it off there.
A 6 would have gone too far though, because you can go too far. But then admittedly, you could then turn the Nightmares to be.
Oh, here he comes.
Here you go.
All right.
How's it going?
Hi, Joey.
This has been wild.
So we were wondering at what point during that turn did you notice the far right air elemental horde having a flank on the shock troop board?
I saw it immediately. That was the entire turn, which is why I wanted to make very sure that I had blocked the other flank off.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't pop plague pots on him to kind of ask him to charge their front, because that keeps the rest of my army, the Nightmare Horde on the right, alive if they do that. He probably won't, but I'm not sure what he's going to end up doing with these air elementals. It's not a guarantee kill on the Nightmare Horde with 7 wounds, because it's 3s and 5s, maybe 3s and 4s with the Bane Chant. And they are 16-18 right now. The middle's just kind of devolved into this giant cluster. And apparently I lost 2 wounds on my tunnel runners there that should be there. But yeah, at the moment I'm kind of okay. I traded shock troops for a horde of shamblers, and 9 wounds on the Wolf Father just didn't turn out to be quite enough. So the Wolffather's probably going to live the entire game. Unless I get another horde into him, I don't have a great shot at it. I was debating on throwing the Broodmother off the hill into him. He didn't have Phalanx. He's out of Kapoka range, so it would have been 4s and 4s. Go for a Bane Chant 4s and 3s. Maybe I do 2-3 wounds, but even then it's a 6 twice. So right now it's really pick up everything but the Wolffather at this point. Let him have 1 unit strength and try to kill the rest.
All right. And are you still planning to try to grab the middles and the right side?
Yeah, although I might end up at the left side anyway. He doesn't have many scoring units left. He's down to 6, and there's not a whole lot. There's a fair amount of wounds on them. If I can pick up one of the 3 hordes, I'd be pretty happy with that. I am probably losing Kryza here. I lucked out not getting that surge, but
Sure.
yeah. I was kind of aiming to kill the unicorn with the Kryza off the hill charge rather than get stuck there and have to shoot it with shredders. But I've got a fair amount of wounds on stuff, so hopefully I can just peel off enough unit strength to pull the win out.
All right.
I was kind of gunning for you to try and
Was
kill the Wolffather with shooting, but you ended up going in a position where you maybe tapped him a little bit, but concentrating on other things.
It was mostly because the Pegasus was looking at the flank of the shock troops. I really wanted to get it down.
Right. Okay. So it was more of a case of focusing on him and killing him rather than trying to risk the Wolffather. Yeah.
And then the Shredder had only 1 valid target of the Wolffather then. So I did get 4 hits, just didn't roll a 5. If I got it there with Shattering, that's an 11. And then that's an 8 twice, so it's not unreasonable.
You're rolling this game, Joey. You needed.
It's
you
not been
need
great.
to be devastated before you've got a chance of killing him, right?
Yeah, it's not been amazing. I'm blaming Nathan here.
Nathan, did you have a question for Joey?
No, it was the same question Jonathan had asked there, right? Was why not shooting at the wolf, right? So that's exactly where I was going to go as well. And we're talking a little bit about shooting priority, Joey, and kind of which direction you could have ordered things a little bit to see if you could maximize your chances on the wolf, father. So I don't think we had really considered the Pegasus that much of a threat in the flank on the shock troops. So
yeah, I was looking
it was just
at
not something we'd really looked at and focused on that much.
Pegasus in the flank, air elementals in the front. They are 22-24, and I can get a Fury over there, but it'd be really annoying to sit with 13 wins on that horde right now. So I was mostly worried about that. And the Wolffather, since all my shooting is Pierce 1, it's very risky to devote it all into it because you can just as easily do 0.
Yeah, we've all been there.
So it looks like Sergey's got a question for you, so we'll let you get back to your game. Best of luck, and we'll see you back here at the end.
All right.
Cheers, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
It makes some valid points. We can be very, we can sound very convinced that we've got the right plan as commentators, but Joe sounds like he's a man with a plan.
Yeah, and there's definitely that, that
He knows what he's doing with it.
Yeah, like I could throw a whole lot of shots at the Wolffather and then not kill him, and then what? Or I could pick up a very dangerous scoring chaff piece. Sometimes you just get blinders on of I want to kill the Wolffather because I want to kill the Wolffather. Because that's just sort of a load off your mind at that point. If he's not out there putting slow to death on things, and threatening flanks, and being annoying.
He's not the nightmare that I'm going to suffer for the next
right
hour that we're playing this game for. I'm going to be careful. The clocks are there we go. They're messing with the clocks. That's cool.
Yeah. They had Sergey had a question, so perfectly fine to pause the clock when you got a question and you need to work something out with your opponent.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if the air elementals go in, from Sergey's point of view, he's now got to maximize what he's got and really make the most of this turn. As you said, like Joey's pointing out, Mother Kryza is probably going to die. Mother Kryza can die in so many different ways. So I think the ensnarers can possibly get her. And I think they go. There's the air elemental horde going into into these guys, which I think it could be completely avoided as well, couldn't it? But it's easy to say that now. But there could be a reason why they didn't back off. That would probably, you could always ask Joey at a later date. I don't know. And then the one thing is this shock troop horde is kind of out of position, but again, it's only the bottom of 3. It's not like we're talking. This is 4 or 5,
Right. That's kind of thing. Like looking at the board state here, you'd be like, "Is this turn 5?" No, bottom 3. They started fast.
And again, I think Sergey did the right thing in trying to push the game, and a little bit like the last game we had with Joey when he was playing against Sam. Sam didn't push the game early enough, and that was the downfall, wasn't it? So this is, sorry, Sam, but this is the epitome of how to play a fast alpha-y kind of army that he's got. Because you can go, oh, Shamblers aren't alpha-y, but they are, because they go 12 inches across the board at the start of the game, and they're immediately threatening you. So
right.
He has pushed it. He's got a shock troop horde off the back of it. And he did the right things by pushing the Shamblers into the flanks. That was a good move. Having these air elementals on the right-hand side, that's a good move. Mm-hmm. I think what he's got to do is just maximize that now. I mean, is the Unicorn able to see the flank of those shock troops as well? Is that able to do that?
Yeah, it can. Well, actually, no. They're not on the hill. 50%, so they're short, and the air elementals are tall.
Yeah, but he's height 4, isn't he? Because he's large cav or monstrous cav, isn't he? Large cav.
Let me double check that. That is the Unicorn. He is height 4. Okay. So and the air elementals are 3. Yep, so he can see over hill.
Is that worth him doing?
Oh, no. It's only 3 attacks in the flank, so that's only 6.
It's 3s and 2s. There's no plague pots on them as well. And admittedly, Joey is, I think he's right. By not dropping the pots, what he's trying to say to the air elementals on the right-hand side, go on then.
Just come get some, yeah. And then let me flank you next turn with my other stuff that's still standing around on the right over here.
It is a tough turn. I mean, it could be tempting, I think, to go air elementals surged into the front of the shock troops. Mother Chrysler gets taken out by the greater air elemental, because the greater air elemental can get the flank at the moment. And then the Wiltfather. The Wiltfather's actually got a tricky position because you can't kill a Tangle. A Tangle's not going to die to 1 charge from the Wiltfather because it's like 17 flat nerve, isn't it?
I think so. Let me double check. Tangle is dash 14.
Ooh.
Plus whatever, I guess, rallying it gets.
It's 15 with the
and it's
the nightmares.
It's rallied off of the other shock troop horde as well. Oh no, the Tangle's not. I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry, I'm looking at the Broodmother.
So 15 is one-shottable from the Wiltfather, especially with Cloak of Death. He just needs a good hit roll. Mm-hmm. Although the Tangle isn't ensnare or anything, is it? It's not, because it's Tangle. You'd have thought ensnare would be part of its rules.
No.
No.
Nope. Nothing like that.
I feel sorry for Ratkin players because with the advent of the shrine now for Riftforged Orcs, it's not the best shrine out there anymore, is it? Let's be honest. It's subpar.
Wasn't the Rhodia shrine better?
The Riftforged Orc one.
The Rhodia shrine is good. The Riftforged Orc one is better. What were you going to say, Nathan?
Yeah, I was going to say the Riftforged Orc one has the ability to cast either Bane Chant or Oh
no!
Hopefully, he realizes that he dropped out before he finishes talking.
Look, I was just looking at it like logistically because like the Riftforged Orc one has the Aura Fury, which the Tangle has. It does have nerf 17 flat, defense 5, and I think Nathan was just about to say that the Riftforged Orc one can cast lots of spells. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, it's special rule allowing it to cast either Bane Chant or Host Shadow Beast multiple times, depending on what you have around it. It is great. I think Host Shadow Beast is a little less useful on it because you really got to lean into that build of multiple combat individuals to take advantage of it. But and then you've got to cluster them close enough to where it can take advantage. But it's you could have a scary center to a line with all that right in the middle. So, and I mean, you could take some basic Stormbringers, I think they're called, for the regular combat characters, and they could be throwing 24 wound attacks, 26 attacks around pretty easily with those 4 units. So
he can't do that with the air elementals. What is it? He can't do that.
Because they're disordered.
If you withdraw, you can't advance or go at the double.
Right, but they go 10 already.
But they can't advance if they withdraw. There's no advance whatsoever if you withdraw. Plus, also, he couldn't then go back within an inch of the unit that he was already fighting, because that's got rid of as well. Anyway.
Well, they definitely can't fly. So the pivot that ends them within an inch of Mother Kryza is the part they can't do, right?
They can't do that. Plus, they can't advance. If you use the withdraw function now, you can't advance or go at the double. Withdraw stop you from doing that now. Yeah.
Is that new?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh.
That was back in the FAQ, over the summer.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you been, Mike?
That's why some of those 50 mil units that were fast enough to be able to turn and get away, we're kind of got a good buff with that, right? Because they can still, depending on what they're up against, make that turn and still disengage away without having to use the withdrawal and move an advance. So.
Yeah.
I missed my bone
where I've
jump.
been is still playing undead, where all my stuff is too slow to do that and get away anyway, so I never try things like that.
You don't need to surge. You just need to hit things in the front.
Right.
Look at the chat. First up, Sam is pointing out that Sergey could use a unicorn to block up the bottom air horde. So the bottom air horde, what is he thinking? Block it up. What do you think he means by that? So, Sam, explain better what that comment means. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there we go. I was going to go. Adam Ballard said, well, Monolith is a very good option, you're right, but the Shrine is better. The Shrine is better. Prove me wrong. Does the Monolith have 8 attacks at Crush 1? No. Can it cast multiple spells? No. Does it have Aura Fury? No. I mean, go back to your point as well, Nathan, about the Host Shadow Beast. You're right. If you could leverage it and go, right, well, let's take lots of individuals to get the Host Shadow Beast. But Host Shadow Beast 7 on just one Rift Forger can change a combat, especially if you've already got another unit in there. Mm-hmm. So one Rift Forger all of a sudden just goes, oh, here's an extra 4 or 5 points of damage. That then means that you're starting to get onto the 4 or less that you really need to kill a unit using another unit. What it really the advantage also with a Rift Forger is that if you can get it within 6 inches at the same time, then what it's doing is it's boosting the Shrine at the same time giving a Host Shadow Beast, which is a very easy spell to cast. So you can cast not brutal, but Bane Chant on other units, and then casts Host Shadow Beast on it as well. So it's like a free spell almost. You see, Sergey's taking a long time on his turn as well. This is.
Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay, so so Sam is talking about if he was going to double charge with both air elementals, he could charge the furthest ones in, but put the put the unicorn and just land him somewhere here in the middle, so that when these air elementals charge, they would land over here, and then this one could sidestep and be surged in and still have room to hit the unit without bumping into the other air elementals first. So that would be a way he could get a double charge.
He could do. And would a double charge 1v1 me, bro? Anytime, Adam.
Next weekend, we will be streaming Adam Ballard versus John Quayle. No, just kidding.
Actually, weren't we supposed to get... where's Joey? He's supposed to turn up at this point in time. Message Joey. He's supposed to be here, and we're supposed to ask him questions. Or is it already gone? No, it's already gone.
He's already gone because Sergey had a question, so he went back to the game. Sergey's just taking a very long time on this turn.
Do you know what? He has taken a long time on this turn. I don't understand how he's still on 29 minutes.
Because they gave themselves 80 minutes.
The same problem we talked about before, right? Yeah. This is the same problem we talked about a minute ago, right? With the greater element, withdraw it, and then turn and move. Now, the greater elemental is one of the events, though, that I think is fast enough to just turn and move away if he wants it to.
He's considering that.
Yeah, so he sent the unicorn that he could have used to box out the air elementals up to punch the nightmares instead, to hold them off for a turn, keep them from shooting.
I think that's a good move because it also holds back the tunnel runners. Yeah. It's a double whammy.
And here he's got plenty of room to go in against the nightmares. Joey said he thought those nightmares could hold to a charge.
Yeah,
we will see. We'll certainly be seeing a Bane chant over here.
At this point, does Joey just take the tunnel runners out and say they're not a combat unit and just go be unit strength over here? Because the unicorn's not going to kill the nightmares. The nightmares are going to take it next turn probably, and he can just bring the unit strength from the tunnel runners over here to either his left quadrant or his left sector. Sorry, or Sergey's sector.
I don't know. See, tunnel runners are speed 8? They're not nimble, so we could turn, try to go around the backside of the house. But they don't have enough unit strength. But I guess at that point, Sergey would have to choose to put the unit strength from his Naiad horde into that corner to take it away from the tunnel runners.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the board state as it is, it's going to be at the moment the Joey's is it because they unit strength 4 those shock troops. They are. So at the moment,
yes.
It's a tie in the middle. The right-hand side is Joey's. The left-hand side is Joey's. And then you've got either the central or left-hand side for Sergey at the moment. He's got to be able to switch that somehow, isn't it? He's got to be able to. Oh, no. Yeah, it's Joey in the middle as well. I don't think there's any harm in the tunnel runners still going into the Pegasus. If the nightmares withdraw, have they got a flank onto the Wilt Father? Just out of interest.
Probably. Yeah,
I
think so.
It'll be hindered though. It will be hindered.
You'd have to withdraw the temple as well if the tank survives.
Yes, that's correct. And I think he used his Strider already to get rid of the Forest Shamblers. Okay,
you can't
interesting.
do this.
Can't do what? Oh, yeah, he's trying to move.
I didn't think he had the angle to do.
No, he's moved it too many times, so he's got to push it back. Yeah.
Yeah. And the greater air elemental has been punched, so it doesn't have nimble anymore, right? It lost fly and nimble last turn.
So what he's trying to achieve is to be able to turn the air elemental. Yeah, because he can't withdraw it because he has to go the full inch.
Mm-hmm. Right, so he can't do that.
He can't do this. No. Because he has to withdraw the full inch. If he doesn't withdraw the full inch, he can't withdraw. So the full inch or nothing, man. Yeah, so he could. That's it. He could do this. Yeah.
That could work. Yep, that's the maximum amount you could slide sideways. Yep.
But can he turn enough now with the air elemental to still get the flank?
Yep. And he only gets the one pivot.
Yep.
Because he's no longer nimble.
I mean, admittedly, what I like about Sergey, he's trying things. He's trying to understand what he can get the most. I mean, sometimes it's worth just looking at things so you get a better idea of what your options are, you know?
Yep.
I think what he's trying to do is trying to avoid that horde as much as he possibly can. Because I don't think the shock troop horde has got much of an angle if he can get these guys out of arc on anything.
Yeah, I think that was his hope, that by sidestepping the air elementals, he could get them out of the shock troop hordes on the side.
So he can
and here he's seeing like he can definitely get the flank charge. He just,
he's going to lose an air elemental horde to a shock troop charge. Yeah. It's that D4, man. D4. Oh. So Sergey's trying everything. He's trying to get all the tricks out of the bag. He's got a deep bag, but it's
I feel like when you're playing with units like air elementals, you kind of have to, right? Because they're a little underpowered just in terms of raw hitting power, and their strength is all in the maneuverability and the flexibility. So like you got to look for these kind of tricks that you can pull with the extra speed you get, the extra maneuvers you can do.
I think if we go back to the start of the game, we look at how he positioned. I think the one thing that Sergey wasn't expecting is the additional unit strength on the right-hand side by putting the Death Engine Spewer over there. Because he had a token force on the right-hand side with his air elementals, and they were facing the wrong way. So that reposition special rule, which they've got brought back the formation, had an impact.
Right. Yeah. Good point there.
This does make a lot of sense. Yeah. Sorry, Karen.
I was going to say, because Joey did initially deploy those units all the way over in the top left corner and then moved them on the redeploy. Yeah.
Oh, there's his regen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it picks up one, I think.
Regen should be when you activate the unit.
One off
I can understand waiting to get just doing regen afterwards. Yeah. Ooh.
All right, picks up two. Okay, so he's opted to send the Greater Elemental into the front of the Broodmother. He's brought up his Naiad Horde into the War Chief with the Vicious Aura. He's not going to be able to do any kind of overruns there because the Air Elemental's in the way. And he sent these guys back in. That's going to be a Bane Chance on the Air Elemental Horde on the right, which goes off.
It's going to be another Bane Chant coming onto the Air Elemental Horde against the Mother Kryza, I think.
Mother Kryza, yeah, probably.
Or will he go for the? No, he's going to go for those guys. He might have gone for the Ensnarers. No, but he's got the staff. Yeah,
he's got the staff. So the staff picks it up for him.
Conjurer's staff for the win. Great item. Auto include.
Probably paid for itself right there. I think that's all of his. No, Kapoka can still cast something.
A bit of heal. Wilt Father. Funny that. Where's your heal going to go? Oh, it's going to be a Wilt Father.
Yeah, he is within range. Picks up one, but still, that's one on the Wilt Father.
Yeah, you think one, and you go, actually, to do that point of damage with no crush, I need something in the range of 9 to 12 attacks.
So here's the Air Elementals against the Nightmare Horde.
It's a big one.
10 hits.
4 damage.
Ooh, only 4 wounds. And they would be wavered, I think they're right.
Yeah, 16, 18.
That's because they're rallied up to 16, 18.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But still, that's 3 unit strength hanging around. Yeah.
Yeah, and now with nothing else over there to get rid of them, because certainly like the counter, because there's a Fury Aura over there, isn't it, or is that someplace else?
The Fury Aura is over on the Tangle.
Oh, on the Tangle. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
he'll at least get double flanked by the.
Oh, 4's to hit,
two
so only
moves.
6 hits, 5 damage. It's 14, 16 at the moment on this guy. On the Mother
That's
Kryza.
11. There's a 12 and a 9.
Ooh.
That will pick up Mother Kryza.
Yeah. What are the Aeromentals? They're going to have to pivot to get out the arc of these shock troops. They can't do it. I don't think they can do
They're
it.
not there yet, though.
No, he probably can do it, actually. Let's have a look. This is going to be pivotal. Pivotal.
If he had done the Naiad Horde first and sidestepped them out of the way, he might be able to turn them enough, but I'm not sure that he can get. I'm not sure that just pivoting is going to do it. It's going to be like right down the line.
Only one angle. There's only one angle that's going to do it, and I don't think there's enough. No, he can't quite manage it.
No, it's still on the line. Yeah, so attacking with the Naiad Horde and then sidestepping them all probably would have been the better choice.
He's leaving it there. He's not leaving it there, is he? Because he can get flanked.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless Joey agreed that that's okay.
I wouldn't.
Well,
I would
maybe in the Joey's actually a front arc on that.
Huh?
No, it's a flank.
No, it's in the flank.
With the shock troop horde.
Just look going right down the line there. I don't know.
No, don't forget, you measure it from the unit, not from
Yeah.
measure it from the target unit rather than the unit itself.
Yeah, it's from the target unit. So
No. So I'm okay. You're right. Sorry.
Yep. That's all right.
I'm having a brain fart here.
It happens. No big deal. So he did not pick up the War Chief with the Horde.
It was a big ask because he was rallied. He was on plus 2 rally as well, wasn't he?
Yep. And it looks like he did not pick up the Brood Mother either.
No. Okay, we come to the big one.
Yep. Wolf Father on Tangle.
15
Only 5
flat.
hits.
Oh, 5 hits.
Only 4. Still
4
only
wounds.
4.
That's not going to do it. Yeah.
And a 3. That will not kill the Tangle. And then the
That
Unicorn.
has been a pretty shocking turn, I think, for Sergey. He needed a good
Unicorn.
turn. He needed a good turn, and he didn't quite. Get it.
Oh! That is going to be a boxcars to waver the Nightmares, I think.
I don't think that's too bad because you're still flank with the.
If they can fit.
No, because he would just back him off. So he would go back 4
Yeah.
inches and then flank him with the old.
He's got the
cards.
Fury Aura over there, doesn't he? Still.
On the Tangle. Yeah, he does. And they're
Right,
within
the Fury Aura.
Oh.
Yeah. So
But
they still get to hit the uniform back. He would have loved to.
Yeah, the Wilt
Yeah,
Father.
he would have much rather had the Wilt Father in the flank with that.
Damn you, delay on the internet.
All right, that's going to bring us to top of 4.
So me and Nathan are having exactly the same the thoughts all the way through. We're just doing it exactly at the same time.
On a
And just
3-second
getting the
delay.
affecting us all the way through.
So all the way over here on the right, Joey can throw that Brood Enforcer and the Death Engine into the flanks of the Air Elemental Horde.
Mhm.
Don't know how likely they are to do it. I'm not familiar with the Death Engine.
No, neither am I. I was just about to look it up. It's got to be a force to hit, isn't it? The Death Engine.
It's forced to hit.
6 plus 7. We'll need at least 5s for him.
Yeah, it's not the Net Pathfinder or anything. Crush 1. So 5s and 3s?
Still,
D6 plus 7.
D6 plus 7 attacks double. Yeah, that's a lot though.
It can be a lot. And then the Brute Enforcer's 3, so that'll get 6 on 3s. The Blade of Slashing, Crush 2 with Brutal. That's going to be close.
And out of expiring.
Yeah.
The Shock Troop Horde wasn't in the flank, apparently.
Yeah, so I guess they must have decided that they're playing not on the line, I guess.
Yes.
I guess.
I suppose.
Up to them.
Inside the line, outside the line. It's up to you, isn't it? You know, how you want to play it.
Yep, we usually do it like, or at least I usually do it like tennis. You know, if it touches if the chalk sprays up at all, then it's in. But I guess they're playing. It's got to be inside the lines to count.
That they are. And Sergey should be coming in at some point. Is that right? Yeah, he should be coming in.
He was, or he might just be staying in the game. That's fine.
I mean, I gotta give it to him. His English is a second language. He does all right. But,
Oh yeah, no, he does fine. He does just fine. Oh yeah, I'm always very appreciative of all the folks that don't speak English as a first language coming to do these, because like there's like you've already got to play a game in front of people where like people are actively here to critique everything you do, and then you got to show up on stream live and like try to read your list and try to explain what you're doing in a language that you're maybe not super familiar with. So I'm always very thankful and appreciative of everybody's willingness to try this thing out.
Since the shopkeeper on Arc, it's going to be a different game entirely, isn't it? I feel it's just. I think what he's doing is trying to avoid the air elementals being able to spin and surge into him, but the air elementals are nimble, so they can spin
and come off the hill at you
and spin again. Yeah. So I'm not overly excited about that move.
Well, I mean, I think I understand him like trying to get his unit strength across into Sergey's center, which is what I think his goal is there. Like he's not trying to kill stuff; he's trying to put 4 unit strength in Sergey's middle to get those 2 points.
I have to give it to him. He's put the War Chief into the air elementals for that reason. Yeah, it's a good move.
So that'll put them on the ground and take away their nimble. Yeah.
Is the Wilt Father an arc of those nightmares at the moment? Just that question.
The
Wilt Father, as in return, the Wilt Father hitting him because he's backed off the tangle rather than attacking.
No,
so it's well out of arc. You could hit some shredders
if he could fit through. Yeah. And so now these nightmares, obviously, they are in the Fury aura, so they can countercharge, or he could back off and flank with tunnel runners. He's got his choice. But if the nightmares back up, there's nothing else they can do this turn. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But then they're doing what they need to do, which is hold the left-hand sector.
Sure.
And then the tunnel runners are just replacing them and then running into it. Because tunnel runners, 48 attacks, 4s and 4s. 48 attacks, 12 damage.
With sharpness.
Yes, so they're normally 4s to hit. Sorry, 3s to hit with the sharpness, and then -1 for the going over the wall, and then -1 with Thunderous because they're going over the wall. But
but still crush 1, so yeah.
They're more likely to take out because the Unicorn's defense 5, 12-14 nerve is actually quite hard for the nightmares to do by themselves. So I would possibly think the nightmares backing up. But then the nightmares are then the only thing by doing that is then the Wilt Father can target the nightmares.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, if he doesn't kill the Unicorn, then I think he can't get the ensnarers in, and the ensnarers are now committed pretty much. There we go. This is what we're going for. So
now we're going for the Wilt Father. Okay.
Chow. That's it. Because I've only got you as a target. Shoot him.
4 hits.
Is that 5 hits? What they hit on?
3 hits. 3 hits.
3 hits. They hit on 5?
Yeah.
They hit on 5s, I think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They hit on 5s. Okay.
Changing to a D3. Hang on.
Right.
There you
1, 2,
go.
3. So there's
Right
6.
down the middle.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Here's 1.
One.
One.
Woo!
1 plus shattering.
No, not average. He's a bit unlucky. Ooh, he's not got any other shooting, so that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the tangle got punched, so no.
So
A
all he
couple of
needs
big
is
rolls.
9 twice. 9 twice. Considering how bad his nerve rolls have been so far, 9 twice is easy.
7 will not do it.
Wah, wah.
So that should take us into combats.
Yeah.
So
Here
we
they
start
go.
over here. Nightmares on the unicorn.
4s and 5s with vicious.
Looking to get to 12, 14.
So it's yeah. I mean, he's going to be lucky to do about 4 or 5 points of damage, isn't he? 4s and 4s. Oh, he's crushed 1, isn't he? He's crushed 1 in combat. He doesn't have piercing 1.
7 hits, 4 wounds.
So what did I say
just-
earlier? 4 or 5 points of damage? That's right,
Yep,
John.
so he
You're
will
right.
need a 10. And that is not a waiver.
Wah, wah.
So that is a grounded unicorn, but that is all. Okay, over here we got Broodmother versus the Greater Air Elemental. 2 hits, 2
There you
wounds.
go. Take that in your windiness. I don't know.
Greater Air Elemental's dash 18, so no danger of getting anything there. Onto the War Chief in the rear of these Air Elementals. Just looking to ground them.
Go, Chief. Go, Chief. Look at
All right.
that. He's got vicious. You remembered it this time. 4 damage. 4 damage.
4 damage, puts them up to 6. Not bad. And a 6 will not get them, as they are
One
dash
day.
17.
Joey can roll higher than like a 7 on his nerve rolls.
Yep. All right, over here we got the Brood Enforcer. Okay, there's 5 on the D6 for the Death Engine Spewer.
Ooh,
Which
good.
is pretty good.
Yeah. 24 attacks, 5s and 3s.
5s and 3s, yeah.
Breeze.
10 hits,
Is he vicious in combat?
7 wounds. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
That was the other one. That's the
Oh,
Brute Enforcer, man. Come on.
Blade of Slashing gets 1 more.
Two.
Still just 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
crushed 2.
Yeah.
He is crushed 2. So that's 9 on a dash 17, and a 9 would get them.
Got
Yeah.
And they are out of inspiring range, so yeah, that does get
He
them.
can roll more than a 7. Yeah.
All right, so that will give Joey at least that side of the table for the moment. Although with grounded air elementals on the other side, I don't know if he's going to fit there.
I think this is it. It's hard to say it, but I think this is now Joey's game, isn't it? Because
I think so. I think picking up the air elementals on that side and opening up that side, clearing that side of the table, the right side of the table. Clearing that side of the table, the right side. Yeah.
Now, the air elementals in the center, if they withdraw forward and then sidestep 5, can they get in the flank of that shock troop horde?
no, because they're facing
surge?
the other direction. They're facing towards the Wiltfather and the Unicorn.
Oh,
Are they facing the? That's hard to tell. Yeah.
I think you're right.
No.
That's
you're right.
That's why
Yeah.
Matey Boy went in. That's why he went in the first place to ground them, because they were just looking to leap over.
All right. Wolffather going back into the tangle. That's Cloak of Death going off, hitting 3 units, I think. With Joey's hitting the Nightmares, hitting the Tangle, and hitting the Broodmother.
I'm honestly kind of surprised he went ahead and put the Wiltfather back into the tangle instead of giving him the flank on the nightmares to pick that up. Because he had to angle, correct, from where he was?
No, he didn't, because
The Wolffather?
the Wolffather didn't quite have angle, because Joey had countercharged with the Nightmares. If he'd backed up the Nightmares at all, they would have been in arc of the Wolffather. So I think Joey made the choice not to back them up and send the tunnel runners into the flank of the Unicorn to pick it up, and because if he had done so, he would have exposed the Nightmare's flank to the Wolffather. Right, regen rolls going on. Pretty good regen roll on the Air Elemental Horde. Picks up 3 of their 6 wounds. Picked up a couple of the wounds on the Greater Elemental.
Right, what did I miss?
The Wolffather went back in on the Tangle. He rolled some regens. And he's just moving stuff around.
I mean, I've got a feeling the actual reposition through the formation has probably had the biggest impact on this game, I think.
Oh, the Ratkin formation.
Yeah, being able to drop those 3 units over there in the corner early, and then redeploy afterwards was a huge deal, because that's what really overbalanced the right hand side. The shooting from the Death Engine really put pressure on the Force Shambler Horde early. Added in with the Nightmares and Sergey to advance that flank, and it didn't have over.
I think it just gave Joey an opening on that right hand side. I think you're right, Nathan. It just edged him into a position where, rather than being just a brute enforcer and a Nightmare Horde, just that extra bit of shooting and combat swung that flank. Because Sergey only had 2. Well, he had 2 hordes over there, but nothing else.
Oof, double 11s will pick up the Tangle.
Oof.
Yeesh. Yeah, that'll do that. And now you have a unobstructed Wolffather. Which way is he going to turn now? Is he going to turn to face the Nightmares or turn down to face the other horde of shock troops? Looks like he's turned around to face the Nightmares.
Well, we can guarantee the 2 right-hand sectors are taken at this point in time. Although that Nightmare Horde is a sneeze away from dying.
It is. It is. It's the sort of thing where you'd be tempted to throw it into the crowd and see what happens.
He just took out the War Chief with a slap, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, 3s and 5s. Oh, Jesus. 3s and 5s wasn't a guarantee there, because he's what?
I think he got Bane Chant.
Oh, did he have Bane Chant?
Yeah, I think he got Bane Chant off. I think that's what that yellow X is. Didn't get Bane Chant. Yeah, Nathan, I think you were pointing out that Sergey doesn't have much in the way of offensive shooting available to ping these Nightmares and pick them up later. Ooh.
That's
Elementals. Yeah, not going to do much on the Brood Mother. If anything, is that even any wounds?
No, because it's only crushed 1. Oh.
And the Brood Mother's defense 5, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is. All right. That will take us into top of 5.
Whoa, do. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
there we go. 2 kind of guarantees in there. I think the Death Engine Spewer's got to go for a shot on the Wiltfather if he can do it. You never know. Are those shredders in the arc still of the Wiltfather? Both are. Yeah.
Just barely, but yes. Both. Yeah, so he might. Yeah, so the Brute Enforcer has run down here to straddle this line, and so that means he gets to decide which sector he wants, the center or this bottom corner.
I got a vision now of like the battlefield having white lines like you would see on a football field, just and they just got like you just got Brute Enforcer just going, ha ha, I could be an either.
Yeah, I hate playing control against armies that have a lot of these like fast 1 unit strength, useful scoring units like ogres and the Brute Enforcers on the Ratkin, because it's so hard to contain them and pick all of them up because you usually have so many of them, and they're so useful at just popping over and picking up one open sector at the end of the game.
Well, it's like Tom Robinson,
and
like,
it's tricky to get them.
Played Joey. It was just that you have to pick up those little units early because they're the ones who screw you in the end game.
Yep.
Go on, Nathan.
And it's tough because you've got to pick the ones that have a good price point, right? Like I really love the Forces of Nature Naiad Centurions, right? But they're 160 points for that. Now they are fast and they are regen and defense 5, but 160 points for that capability is a little on the steep side. You're kind of whereas he's a 5-point unit, something like that.
The Brute Enforcer is one of the most cost-effective unit strength units in the game because he's 65 points. Doesn't inspire, but he's defense 5. That's just massive.
Yeah, 75 points. Joey put a Blade of Slashing on him to make him 80, just to guarantee that with his 3 attacks he'll do a wound. Like, all right.
Joey's shooting has been terrible.
Joey's dice. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, did he pick him up?
He picked him up. He rolled a 9 and 12. Oh. As I said, he was holding out with his nerve rolls. Oh, unlucky. Oh, sorry, unlucky. Oh, it can always happen to a unit like that, but it was. He
did 1 wound.
Yeah.
That is in fact my favorite way to kill the Wiltfather. Do 1 wound and then roll like 9 or 10 twice.
That's everybody's favorite way. Just kill him.
Mike Atkins. I play Jeff O'Neill. A lot, and my Night Stalker Planar Apparition has had great fun throwing Mind Fog, Goblin Blow Up carts, or Goblin Wisdoms, and then spiking that 10 or 11 to pick them up. It is a bright and it happens.
Yep.
Are those ensnarers in Arc of the Shock Troop Horde? Oh, it doesn't really matter because there's a unit in the way anyway, isn't there?
Yeah.
They aren't, but I don't think they're properly positioned by Joe.
It doesn't look like they are.
But then you've still got a Broodmother that would probably stop. Yeah, it would stop the actual ensnarers getting it anyway.
Okay. So Broodmother just sort of treading water against the air elemental. And we'll see here. Nightmares do 3 more wounds and roll a 5 against the Unicorn, which isn't enough to pick up a Unicorn, right? That's a 12.
Waivers though.
But that's a waiver, yeah.
That's not what you don't want to see when you've got a vicious unit, a load of 2s.
Yeah, really. Okay, and now the other Nightmare is beating up on. Those are the elite rolls. Beating up on the Druid over here. There's a 9 and a 10. Okay, sure.
He was holding on to the nerve rolls. That's all he was doing. He was going, yeah, I was tickling you before. Now take it full frontal.
All right, yeah, and now he's got them again. straddling the line between two sectors, so he can decide where he wants that unit strength.
That Wilt Father pickup was massive.
Yeah.
Because it turned what was like
Joey was already in control of the game. Yeah.
He was pretty much in control, but now it turns it into a foregone conclusion because he just doesn't have anything to deal with what's left on the table.
Yeah, because if he doesn't pick up the Wilt Father, then this turn the Wilt Father goes in the flank of those Nightmares and picks them up. And sure, then takes Tunnel Runners to the face.
Yeah, just trying to get the ensnarers in. I think he can do it.
He can't sidestep the. He can't sidestep. It's not an option for a wavered unit, right? Didn't he waver that unicorn?
He did, because he rolled a 12.
Check that. Unicorn is 12-14, so yeah, he should be wavered.
So all he can do is
back up and change face.
all he can do is stay where he is. Yep, correct.
The one thing that's happening though is the ensnarers are going to get lucky to kill the Nightmares and a sharpness horde in the flank. Sharpness Tunnel Runners in the flank is more than likely going to slap them.
Yep. So is it Scorched Earth Caster still alive?
Doesn't have Scorched Earth. Did he have Scorched Earth? I think only.
Or did Joey take Scorched Earth?
Only Joey took Scorched Earth.
Joey took Scorched Earth. Okay, never mind.
Joe.
I thought. Didn't I see it on somebody, or or have I gotten list confused?
You may have.
No, the Brood Mother has Scorched Earth and Drain Life. Just it's been in combat for half the game, so.
But she's again, and that goes back to the conversation we had earlier about Hex, right? Is the opportunity cost of some of these spells. You start putting all these options on units, and now, Joey's had to commit that unit to hand to tie stuff up, and so he's paid 20 points for an ability he's never used, and he'll likely not use in this game. So it's certainly nice to have it, but at times it's kind of like, all right, what is this unit's real focus here? What's it meant to do? And am I, adding too much onto that?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think the original conversation about Hex is just how useful is it going to be? Is it going to be useful 60% of the time, 70% of the time, 80% of the time? I think it's somewhere in that kind of like that area, but you still have to have a carrier that's worth putting it on.
Right.
And not everybody is able to take like the equivalent of, say, a standard bearer to put the Trickster's Wand on. Not many, like the casters. Some casters will, so like a heal caster, like a druid, would still benefit from Hex, because a lot of the time they aren't necessarily doing anything on the other side of the battlefield. But yeah, it's a tough decision to make. And in this particular game, it didn't have a huge impact because Sergey was very good initially in just getting everything he possibly could into combat. I don't know what he's doing here. Why is he doing that?
They're not supposed to shift and center off. He's trying to shift the air elementals down to have unit strength in the center, but that's not a valid position, I don't think. No. They should be shifted further up the table, both of them.
When you charge a unit, a multiple charge, you take both units and treat them as one, so you just center up like they were one big unit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of bang dice being rolled. I think Sergey is just trying to get stuff done as quickly as he possibly can. He was doing regens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still got a lot of regenning units. He is down now below 7 minutes, and it is the bottom of turn 5.
Yeah, and he's doing some heals. They missed. Here comes the ensnarers. 2 damage. That Brood Mother is a tough cookie. Frenzied also doesn't do enough. Doesn't do enough. And
a 5 roll. No, will not do it. Brood Mother's 12-14.
Oh.
Yeah, Missed the waiver by 1. That's going to bring us to the greater air elemental on the shock troops.
Couple of points. Oh, no,
Couple
3
points.
yet. Crush 1.
I think they Bane chanted it as well.
No, I think the
There's
Bane
the
chant's
air
on the...
elementals.
Yeah. Not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. Oh,
10,
actually, might
21.
be. 22 could kill them.
Your mother inspired.
Yeah. Okay. There it is, 7. Yeah, the Broodmother inspires, I'm pretty sure.
7
Yes.
is just outside a waiver. That was actually very close.
That was very close.
Very close. That was actually very close.
Yeah, he got it with the first roll and then missed waving them by 1 on the reroll with the inspiring from the Broodmother. And that's going to bring us to the top of 6.
It's I mean, like Adam, you put up his comment earlier. Joey's rolled badly. He did roll badly initially.
Yeah.
But we always knew that comes back round, doesn't it? You know, you don't roll badly the entire game. Well, unless you're really unlucky. Whenever I've done like dice comparisons on like 2d6 rolls and rolls over UB dice.
Oh, I think John locked up. At least I hope John locked up and it's not me.
He's just frozen on my end.
Okay, so it is him. Everybody's got
Can you hear me
Wi-Fi
now?
problems today. Yeah, we can hear you now, John.
No?
Yep.
A bit of delay. Hang on.
Okay. So Joey has
Mark
moved these.
the shock troops as a weight.
Oh, they did mark it as well. Oh, is one of those brutal? Did they get brutal in the formation, maybe? Yeah.
They do.
Yeah,
yes, the greater elemental gives the brutal aura. Yeah.
the brutal aura. Okay. So he's backed it off, and I guess he'll shoot at them then. So that would explain why he's walked these nightmares up onto the hill so they can shoot down at the elementals, at least the horde. The Death Engine Spewer should be able to shoot either of them as well. Possibly the Shredders, I think, will be able to shoot the greater air elemental because it's taller than the hill and taller than the unicorn. Yeah, 4 to 5. So they'll be able to draw line of sight to that.
Is this Joey's movement still?
This is Joey's movement still, yep.
Yeah.
So the shock troop horde was wavered because the formation gives the greater air elemental the brutal aura. So that's where the extra 1 came from to get the waiver. Okay, yep. Slide that guy back there to hold that section, that sector. Yeah, this is kind of a difficult position, though. Everybody's having trouble connecting.
See, I'm
Yes, Joey
surprised.
does-
See, I'm looking at unit strength counts right now, right? Joey's got 4 quadrants, right? So nobody has the bottom left, sector. Nobody has the bottom left sector. Joey has top left. Right now, does Sergey have Joey center?
I mean, he's got like 10 in there.
7? Yeah. Because the ensnares are 4, the greater elementals 5. Yeah.
That's
So
8, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so he's trying to shoot the air elemental horde. Oh, that was the elite reroll. Okay.
And yeah. And that was a good roll for him. 4 wounds on that. 4 wounds, that was a good pickup there. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as he doesn't snake them, that air elemental horde should be gone.
Should be, yeah. These nightmares on the hill, though, if he doesn't get rid of both of the air elemental units there, the greater could get rid of those nightmares. Could just jump right over the horde and get the nightmares. So he's got to get rid of them both, and he's got nothing to ground them with, so he's just got to shoot them both to death. Okay, well, five wounds. Joey's just been shooting at the air elemental units to try to make sure that they don't pick up any of his scoring units in the bottom of 6 and tip the game.
The shock troops were wavered, but they're wavered because the
one hit out of
the brutal.
Yep.
Yeah, 1 hit. Only going to get
and
2.
1 more. Oh man.
No.
Oh, come on, Joey.
Come on, Joey. Roll better, man. Roll better. Hashtag Joey dice.
I can imagine him sitting there
or nothing.
fuming right now. Yeah.
So that is a 7, which I think does not pick up the greater air elemental, unless something that shot him was shattering.
No, and that's no. Didn't take a point. If he'd have taken 1 point of damage from those shredders, that's just, no. God damn it.
The air elementals are -17, so he only needs a 3 snakes, something like that. Yeah, he gets those.
Yeah, he got that.
So that takes 3 unit strength off the table, which is a big deal.
He could the air elemental though. I mean, has he actually used the pots yet on these shot troops?
I don't know.
I don't remember him using him yet.
I mean, I feel like I would go for. Yeah, then you would get the center. Unless he's straddling.
No, sorry.
I don't know. I'm not sure whether I would go for the Nightmare Horde on the hill or the Shock Troop Horde with the greater air elemental, because I don't know which one tips it in your favor. Because the guys on the hill, it looks like he's got it straddling, so he can pick where to put them.
I don't understand why those nightmares didn't flank the horde of ensnarers. Could they not fit in?
I don't think they had enough angle to get around the unicorn.
Yeah.
From there?
Yeah. Because didn't they just pick up the unicorn?
They just picked up the unicorn, and then the sharpness guys.
They just picked up the unicorn.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. The ensnarers.
There's the brood mother on the ensnarers. Not going to do much. Just 1 wound. Can't pick them up. No lucky waiver. And that'll bring us to the bottom of turn 6. So Sergey has 2 scoring units.
Can he win this? Yeah. I mean,
can he win?
Sergey, you're asking a fucking lot to be able to do that. He's also only got 5:47 on his clock as well, haven't they? They haven't switched the clock over.
I'll get it.
Yeah. In a word, no.
80-minute clocks were a little cheeky, I think, but
80-minute clocks was because Sergey.
80-minute clocks not on deployment.
Yeah, but it was because Sergey, his second language is English, and we've already experienced it with him being on the stream. I can understand it to a certain extent, and I don't mind it. I mean, Joey's used 80-minute clocks as much as Sergey has. Let's look at his time,
right?
You know,
right. And if I was Joey, and I'm like, well, you're playing an army that you have played constantly for a long time and know all the ins and outs of, and I'm playing an army that I just picked up. Having a few extra minutes to think through all my moves and read my own sheet might not be the worst thing.
This is a good move by Sergey. Right until the end.
Yep, surge into the flank of the Nightmares on the Hill. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: if somebody told us we had to play a UB tournament in Russian, we'd be fucked.
Like I can use Google Translates and copy and paste them to you, I guess.
And admittedly, I played in the Highlander tournament, not the Highlander, the Digital Throne tournament run by Jesse. I played a chap from Argentina. His nickname was Landuin, and he didn't speak a word of English, so he actually had somebody who was translating for him. So we're on a three-way call, playing the game over a three-way call. That was a bit odd, I have to admit. It was a bit odd, but it was nice in another way.
Okay.
I didn't mention that I won a tournament, did I? Did I mention that?
Did you? An online tournament, was it?
They all count. They all count, Mike.
They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Exactly. I think next stream I have to turn up.
So he's going for the shock report.
He's going to do the rear surge. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Showcase what you can do.
Because that's
30 attacks.
I think the challenge with that, though, is that so if he'd gone for the Nightmares, he'd have an opportunity to kill them and get back to his center to control it. With this, he's going to have he's not going to be able to, he's just going to hold the center and that's it. So it's almost like he's just going for attrition rather than scenario still at this point.
Right, because Joey will still have the 2 points for his center. So it's just offsetting that instead of taking away 2 points and gaining one. Yeah,
he doesn't win either way.
True.
He kills the thingy horde. It doesn't matter because
Joey's got 3 points from the 3 flank sectors he owns.
Well, but if he kills the Broodmother, and that gives him the center, right? And then if he kills the Nightmare, and he can get back to his center, that puts him to a tie. True. Depending on where his overrun ended up with the greater elemental.
But he's also on 1 minute and 45 seconds, so it's possible that he's not thinking through.
No, he's done his turn and he's finished. So he holds the central section.
Yeah. And now it's on him to roll for a turn 7.
I like the fact he's paused it as soon as he could.
Yeah. You should.
Do not blame him. So it's 3-2 at the moment, is it? No, because the Nightmares are in the middle, so it is
3-5.
5. Yeah.
And that is game.
2-5. Oh. Yeah, I suppose worth finding out what they actually thought one lost in the game. I think it was that attritional snowball from having too much over on the right-hand side. It just gave Joey that advantage, and he pushed it.
The lucky pickup of Wiltfather on 9s, needing that ice, that was a huge pickup for Joey also there. That really sealed up the center for him, I think. So, I mean, otherwise Sergey could have extended out to some of these other sections with the Naiads instead.
Yeah, I mean, the tunnel runners would have been in threat from the Wiltfather, so the Wiltfather could have taken the tunnel runners, possibly. Hey, Joey.
What's up?
Hey.
Wiltfather probably takes tunnel runners. They'd be hindered, and I'm only crushed 1 when hindered. So 24 4s and 5s. It's only 4 wounds.
You'd probably run away though at that point in time, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be over
face it,
there.
Wolffather. See you later, man.
All right, welcome back, guys.
Yes.
That was a good game. That was a good
very
game.
good
It was
game.
really good play from both sides. It was
That was-
tense. It was
Thank you.
tense up until probably the final couple of turns. It'd be interesting to know, like Sergey, how do you think it went? Where do you think the game turned?
Game turned, I think, after turn 2 when I had a mistake with air elementals on flank of broadpath. When it wasn't allowed, and it ruined my plans a bit. When his little heroes his little heroes were quite tough, actually, with
Yeah.
3 herder, with big elemental, with naiad hordes, and it was quite bad situation for me. Also, I think it turned when firstly Forest Chamblers, then Air Elementals under Bane Chant didn't kill Nightmares on the right flank. That was bad because they can stay and they can save my flank and some points for scenario. And I think that's all. That's just a game. And of course, 9 rerollable nerf check with Wildfather totally.
Yeah. No, you did boxcar me like 3 different times for waivers, so I think it's fair.
It's
You
never
were rolling
fair,
some
Joey.
nuts boxcars.
It's never fair. We were saying that Joey had some bad luck on the rolls initially, on like some of the shooting, but you can never rely on anything, can you? So we thought the Wiltfather was a lucky pickup. It was a lucky pickup, and at the right time, it could have forced the issue a little bit, because if Wiltfather could always come out on top. I think you got some valid points there, Sergey.
Yeah, definitely that slight missed flank surge with the air elementals stalled you in the middle, and yeah, those nightmares on the right that managed to survive, managed to step up on a hill, blow away a unit of air elementals, and score 2 points at the end of the game. So yeah, MVP unit.
Joey, how did it feel? Joey, how did it feel playing against the Wilt player? I don't know if you've done that very much.
I've played against him a few times. Usually only on UB, because nobody wanted to paint a tree herder for the last couple of years, with the fear that he was going to get changed or banned or something. It sucks. I'll be the first to say it. I enjoyed running the Wiltfather, but I understood that it was kind of bogus that I could. But at the end of the day, he's one character. He's 10 attacks. Sergey rolled the 5-hit roll. I saw that a lot running the Wiltfather. You're going to get the turn. He does 4 wounds. He can't reliably kill things on his own in 1 turn. It's going to take 2 turns at best. And it's still only 10 dice. It's very variant with him. I kind of hoped that I could have killed him a turn earlier, but the way things were set up, because there's so many flyers with Sergey's list, it's very hard to direct shots at the Wiltfather, who I can just control with my own movement, versus his 4 flying flyers and flying surgers and everything. I want to shoot them, because if I kill them, that's a hell of a lot of work off of my end.
And when he got that flank surge with the Forest Shamblers early on and popped one of the hordes of shock troops, even with the plague pots, like that kind of make you have to reevaluate your plans? Like, were you planning on them living for another turn?
I assumed they were going to die. I popped plague pots in the hopes that maybe Ensnare. I figured he was going to have a surge, but if I blocked the surge off, it meant the Nightmares could have been flanked by the Wiltfather instead. I wasn't in a really good spot. One of the 2 units was going to have to die, and I valued the Nightmares that were fresh a lot more than 12 wound shock troops.
Right.
Fair dues.
Got any other questions for these guys? It was a great game. It was a very well played game. It was great watching you guys try out all the different options you had to see what made the most sense. It was good play, good clean play everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like I don't think it went all Joey's way. I think there was some good play on both sides. Sergey, there was some. I love the setup of the air elementals on the right hand side to cover the flank on the shock troops, just forcing the issue, and it really just. Because I didn't know what those guys were going to do. So, yeah, it was really good. And we say it too often, don't we? It was a really good game. But that one was a nice tactical battle, you know? And it wasn't too many mistakes on either side. There was, as you said, there's maybe only one, maybe two mistakes you made. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it comes down to hitting the sevens twice. If
Thanks,
Sergey
John,
hits a couple
for
of
organizing this tournament. I enjoyed it.
Good. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Great.
But yeah, rolling sevens twice is always a benefit. Rolling nines twice is also better.
Yeah. Boxcar nightmares that have a flank charge on the Wolffather is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those work. That's all you need, right?
Yeah.
Boxcarring tunnel runners on turn 1 that takes them basically out of the game.
Yeah. Boxcar the shock troop horde after.
Sorry, that's how I win games. I don't understand, right? Is this not just how everybody plays? Yeah.
All right, you guys have any more questions for the players? If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
All good.
Oh, good. All right, great. So, again, thanks, Sergey and Joey, for letting us watch your game. It was a great game. Yeah. Super appreciated it. Congrats to Joey for the win. You'll be advancing to the semifinal round next week, but we don't know who he's playing yet, right? We got to wait for the other 2 games to finish.
It's Page or Trish.
Yes.
Page or Trish.
So an easy semi-final, right? You know, if he doesn't get through that, right? You know, he's only got himself to blame.
I'm either going to be up at 6 a.m. or up at 10 p.m. to play this game anyway. Yeah.
Well, that's not how we decided it. You've got to, you know. Anyway, go on.
I'm either playing a guy from Australia or a guy from slightly farther east than Australia. There's no getting around this time zone.
All right. Thanks, John and Nate, for hanging out with me and fighting through the technical issues to cover the game. I super appreciate it. And thanks also to the folks at home watching. We hope you guys enjoyed this game. Coming up on Sunday or possibly Monday, depending on where you are, we're going to have Paige Neo versus Jeff Trace. That's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday or 12:30 p.m. In Australia on Monday. And if you feel like staying up really late in Europe, you can watch it at like 1 or 2 in the morning. Or you can just wait and watch it on YouTube the next day when you get up. That's fine. So until next time, I'm Mike Atkins saying you stay safe out there, and we will see you next time on Dash 28 Live. Bye, everybody.
Bye.